Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the grand finale of our 2024 Brown Bag Lunch Learning Series. My name is Tera, Bedard. For those of you who I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, I am the Executive Director with the Waterloo Region Immigration Partnership, and I am so excited to be here with all of you for this special in-person session where we'll be exploring language learning opportunities and employment programs in Waterloo Region. This series, which we launched earlier this year through the Immigration Partnership together with your settlement leaders, has been dedicated to empowering all of the professionals in Waterloo Region who are working on the front lines of immigrant and community service organizations. Our mission has been to bridge information gaps and provide you with the tools and insights that you need to better support newcomers across Waterloo Region and ultimately drive positive change in the lives of newcomers. Through expert presentations and Q&A, we are committed to strengthening our collective capacity to serve and uplift immigrants in Waterloo Region. We are coming together in person to celebrate at the end of a very busy year, all of the very important work that you do every day, and all of your contributions to building a better community for everyone. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and the land on which we live and work. Other than our Indigenous neighbors, we are all immigrants who have settled in this place at some time. At one point, we or our ancestors all came seeking to be welcomed and wanting to reach our full potential. A land acknowledgement is a way of honoring the land on which our successes have been built and the Indigenous people who have been living and caring on this land for thousands of years. It is a long-standing protocol amongst Indigenous peoples that honors their spiritual connection to the land. So, the land on which we are today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Chinantan peoples. This land was promised to the peoples of the Six Nations on the Haldimand Tract, which takes in 6 miles on either side of the Grand River. We'd like to acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements, and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada and right here at home in Waterloo Region. So I would like to welcome our first guest this morning to the stage, who is our Regional Chair, Karen Redman. Chair Redman is serving her second term as the chair of the Regional Municipality of Waterloo, and she is the chair of our Board of Health and also of the Waterloo Region Police Services Board. Karen has dedicated her career to community service. She has held prior roles with the Board of Education, as a City of Kitchener councillor, a member of Federal Parliament, and as a regional councillor from 2014 to 2018. She has served as the CEO for Habitat for Humanity Waterloo Region from 2010 to 2018, and she is deeply engaged in the community through service clubs, nonprofit boards, and more. She is also an incredible supporter of the work that every one of us here in this region is doing to support immigration and immigrants who are moving into our community. Please join me in welcoming Chair Redman to the stage this morning.
I now feel I am alive. I heard those words spoken a few months ago, and they continue to resonate with me. They were shared with me by a gentleman who recently moved to Canada with his wife because they could not go back to their home country. They came here to start a new life. The grassroots organization this gentleman and his wife turned to not only supported him to access the necessities they needed, including finding a home, claiming refugee status, and getting financial assistance, but the members of that organization became their family. This is the impact each and every one of you have. You are a lifeline. Your passion and your commitment to supporting people who is felt across this community. The work you do, though not without its challenges, is meaningful and is making a lasting difference. So good morning, and thank you, Tera, for the introduction and for inviting me to speak here today. On behalf of Regional Council and this entire community, I bring greetings and thanks to each of you. You play a critical role in a community building, especially in enhancing experiences, services, and care for newcomers. I want to thank the Immigration Partnership for providing this important opportunity to connect service delivery providers and to bridge gaps. The more we work together and the more we learn from each other, the more holistic and seamless a service experience can be provided. We know that the challenges faced by newcomers when they arrive in Canada. They often have no contacts, no family, no neighbors to turn to. It can be daunting and overwhelming to get started and to settle in. Our systems are complex and can be difficult to navigate, but each of you is an important guide. You ensure that the people you serve feel welcome, that they can access essential and culturally relevant services and spaces, and that they find opportunities for connection and belonging. There are so many agencies, organizations, and grassroots groups advocating for and supporting newcomers in the region of Waterloo. You are all a light in these people's lives. Because of your support and your connections, many newcomers are building new lives here. They're finding work in their field. They're raising their families in a happy and healthy home. They are opening doors to new opportunities. In short, they are thriving. Not only are you helping people to improve their lives, but you're also empowering them to contribute to this community. Newcomers are actively engaged in community building across the region with local organization, boards, and initiatives through volunteering and donating and helping out neighbors and others in similar experiences. They contribute to the educational initiatives and the economy. Once established, they often shift from focusing on developing their own skills to using those skills to help our community. This community is growing at a very fast pace. We've added a city the size of Stratford in the last year. In the incoming decades, we will reach 1 million. Over 300,000 new residents will be welcomed at that time. More than half will be immigrants from around the world. Your work, your support are critical to ensuring the individuals and their families have the opportunities to thrive, but also ensuring this community continues to thrive as a whole. The region and higher levels of government also have a role to play in this, to continue to work towards ensuring that everyone coming to live in this region has equitable access to housing, employment, and other basic needs without barriers. Just like you, newcomers make our community better. They bring diverse experiences and contribute to the vibrant regional tapestry. They enrich the community in many ways and shape our shared experiences. The difference that they make starts with you. You are key to empowerment. Your help to newcomers gets them on their feet. And many of you, I know that this is a personal commitment. You have compassion. Some of you have lived experience as newcomers. And your passion for your work and for helping the people you serve brings about positive change for the individuals, for families, and indeed our entire community. Thank you again for all that you do, for the critical contributions and your unwavering dedication to strengthening this community. I wish you all the best in your discussions today, and I hope you leave here feeling better equipped to support newcomers in Waterloo region. And I wish all of you and all the people in your life safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. I represent a community who remains in your debt. Have a great day.
Thank you, Chair Redman. I think that the people in this room hear a lot from the leaders in their organizations, how important and appreciated the work that they do is for our community and for all of our newest residents who are moving in. And with the settlement leaders, we thought it was really important for everybody to know that outside of your organizations, the work that you do every day is seen and very much appreciated, and how much it contributes to the overall development of this community does not go unnoticed each and every day. So thank you, Chair Redman, for coming to share that message with everybody here today. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. I would now like to invite and introduce a very special guest, Elder Myeengun Henry, who is a respected Indigenous knowledge keeper, leader, and educator dedicated to advancing Indigenous wellness and community well-being. He currently serves as the Indigenous knowledge keeper for the University of Waterloo's Faculty of Health, where he leads efforts in response to the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. Elder Henry is a member of the Chippewas of the Thames First Nation. He is a former elected chief and band counselor for his community. Beyond his academic and leadership roles, Elder Henry is deeply involved in numerous Indigenous initiatives, including serving as chair for the Ontario Provincial Police, the Law Society of Ontario Indigenous Advisory Councils, and chair of the Advisory Council at Grand River Hospital. He is also an experienced Indigenous ceremony conductor, traditional medicine practitioner, environmental protectionist. His work focuses on building reciprocal, respectful relationships with Indigenous communities, advocating for decolonization, and supporting Indigenous wellness and addictions prevention. Elder Henry received an honorary Doctor of Laws from the University of Waterloo in 2024 for his outstanding contributions to Indigenous wellness. Please join me in welcoming Elder Henry.
Good morning, everybody. Seen a lot of nice smiles this morning. It was nice to see you on this beautiful day. I was thinking about, I only have a few minutes with you, but what I can share with you that is really important. And when I noticed the theme was to do with language and employment and bringing newcomers to this land, I think we were one of the original ones to bring newcomers to this land. So many years ago, we welcomed so many people here. So we're still doing it today, and it's really good to see. But when I started thinking about language and the barriers to that, I think of a natural language that goes so well with everything we do in life. And that brought me back to last Sunday evening when our beautiful moon was bright and full. And in our teachings, we were told that the language that our grandmother moon offers to all of us is to remind us of our roles here in this world, to be kind, just like a grandmother would be. If you ever see a grandmother that looks after her grandchildren, she'll make sure they're warm, she'll make sure that they're fed, she'll give the parents some time off so that the kids can be, comfortable with her. And that's what I still see in the language of our grandmother moon. She gives us that chance to feel that warmth and that beautifulness in the evening. Along with her are the stars that travel with her. If you get a chance to look up in the evening sky when we have a clear night, you get to see those beautiful constellations that remind us about our role in this world, how important it is for us to recognize the naturalness that we live in. And the human beings here on this earth, they sometimes forget because we live in a complicated world. You can see upheaval around the world today, the challenges that we're faced through the wars that are in our presence often, and it hurts our soul and our spirit. We have to find a chance for everyone to reignite with our naturalness, how important it is for us to feel that our Creator, however you call Creator to be, is looking at us and hoping that we find a better path of reconciliation for all people on this earth. And so I just go back to my own teaching, sitting with my grandfather, listening to his stories in his day and telling us that we have to be kind and our heart has to be filled with love. And when we do that, we start to see the world in a much better way of being. And so I now know we're coming up to the time when our days become the shortest. So I guess the winter season is upon us. And that tells us that, at least in our communities, it's a good time to connect with our young people. maybe all the newcomers that come to Canada, to sit with them, because the evenings are long. As we know, it gets dark so early today. But in those long evenings, there's a purpose for that. To sit with your family, have dinner, to share your stories, to learn about your past, your history, your families, your communities, and how to build a stronger world in the future in the eyes of our children. And so we take that December 21st, Winter Solace Day, as a reminder to let's spend some time together in a good way. Tell our stories, remind people of where you come from, where your families are, and the languages that you carry with you, how important it is to keep that language. We know quite well because we had to endure the residential schools that told us that we couldn't speak our language in our own home. We were told that our culture and the things that we did within our culture was wrong. And so now that we've come to this day and age, we take that now as a message to all, because we now know that there are about 60 spoken Indigenous language in Canada right now. They're depleting quite fast. There are 12 categories of those languages, and only 3 out of the 60 languages that will endure the next 20 years will be the Inuktitut up in north, where they speak quite frequently still, the Anishinaabe language, which is my language, and the Cree language. Those are the 3 languages that are targeted to survive over the next 20 years. And so we're trying very hard to bring that language back and to teach our children how important it is. So I encourage everyone who has their language, their natural language, to keep it strong, because it's really painful to lose it. And when you do lose it, you lose the translation that comes with it, because some of our words we can't even translate into English. Our language is a scriptive language that comes from the heart, and how important that is for us and our children to understand that. So today, in that message for you, I'd like to use a little bit of my language so that you might get a chance to hear some of my language. I was very lucky. Both my parents went to residential school, and they weren't very willing to teach the language to us because that was taught to them. But I got a chance to know some great elders and to walk a path of knowledge with some beautiful people who helped me along with this process of learning my language. So I'll before I do that, I want to offer you a welcome song, the song that tells us that we're all here as people on this earth, walking in this beautiful creation. And we have to respect our beautiful mother. She's there doing her job, and our mother is our earth. The wintertime is really a time when the snow flies, and what it does during that time, it gives our Mother Earth a little rest. She's worked so hard all summer to produce food for us, to give us water, to do all the things that's necessary for life. And then she gets a little rest period, so winter kind of brings that rest period for her. And it's unfortunate, though, we do face climate change today, and we don't see that snow on the ground that we're accustomed to seeing, because that gives her that little blanket of love and a chance to rest. So we need to think about the earth and how important it is for us to give all of our heart to her, especially not just for our generation, but for our children's generation to come. So I'm going to offer this quick song for her and for you and for us being together with our beautiful spirits today. They say when the first drum sounds, it resonates and it brings the spirit of all together. Even the animals, you might notice an eagle or a hawk or an owl flying close by, because they know that the humans are doing a ceremony, and the drum allows everybody to participate in that ceremony. So if you go back to your own culture, you'll find a drum, you'll find a shaker, you'll find song, because we're all given that in our beginnings, in our creation story. So we hit that 4 drums 4 times the first time to welcome all nations here today. And the heartbeat of the drum is the heartbeat of our Mother, the Earth. And if you put your feet on the ground, you will feel the heartbeat that exists under the soil. Way up, hey, hey, hi, way up, hey, hey, way up, hey, hey, way up, hey, hey, oh, hey, hi, hey, oh, hey, way I, oh, way I, hey, hey, oh, hey. Way up, hey, hey, hi, way hey, hey, way hey, hey, way hey, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, way I, oh, way I, hey, hey, oh, hey. And the last verse of the song is for all of those who have traveled on Mother Earth and now goes back to Creator. We all revisit Creator. We're brought here in spirit. And we have gifts, and we share those gifts while we walk on the earth. But then the day comes when Creator decides to call our spirit back home. And so all those beautiful people, all your relatives, your aunts, your uncles, your parents that are in the spirit world, we think about them because they make us strong still, even though they're with Creator. We wish them well. We miss them, but we want to honor them too. So the last verse requires no drum. It's for all those that are with Creator. Way hey, hey, hi, way hey, hey, way hey, hey, way hey, hey, ho, hey, hi, hey, ho, hey, way hi, way hi, hey, hey, ho, hey, way hey, hey, oh. And then we would share a language. Abujo Myeengun and Dejnikas, Deshkan Zibi and Onjiba, Myeengun Dodem. Get ye manado, Chimigwetchman, Wakakinda Manda Ganaj, when Gijgat Nongum. Get ye manado, Chimigwetchman, Wakakina Wasiak Mampi, Wabanung, Jawanung, Epping the Schmuck, Kiwade Nung. Get ye manado, Chimigwetchman, Wakakina Wasiak Mampi, get ye Mashkiki Osama Wingash, Mashko de Wish Minwa Gijik. Gigido Endeso Gijgat and Nishnabem win. She migwech widok mampi, kakina wesiak mampi, mazak mikwe. Getche manado, chi migwech menwa, kakina wesiak mampi, getche ni Johnson onik. Getche manado, gigido endaso gizgat, anisnabi muin. Getche manado, chi migwech menwa, kakina wesiak mampi, gigo yak, kakina wesiak, gijagon. So in that little opportunity to share my language with you, I got a chance to welcome you all on this beautiful place we call Mother Earth, how important it is for the birds, the animals, the plants to prosper also, to give us a chance to feel the wealth of their creation, and give us a chance to feel the warmth of their beautiful love that they offer all of us. So in our words of our elders, they always say that we can see a better world if we want to. It's hard sometimes, but we can actually find the love that we're looking for in the world that we need to live in for our children to come. So with that said, Chimigwech for allowing me to spend some time with you this morning, and have a great day because it is a beautiful day, and being together with you even makes it greater. Miigwech, everybody. Have a great day.
Myeengun, thank you so much for sharing such thoughtful messages with us this morning. It was really important for us to have somebody like yourself come in to help set us out with positive intentions on this day and start us on a good way. And you've really brought some important grounding for us for today and some really peaceful thinking as we then go from today and move out into the holidays and into a fresh year where we will be continuing to do the work of welcoming many newcomers into our region. This has been a perfect start to our morning. Thank you. So as you, I hope, are all aware, the Immigration Partnership is made up of many organizations in Waterloo region, including all of the ones that you are working with. And through the Immigration Partnership, we are trying to work together across organizations to create the conditions for immigrants to succeed and help contribute to a thriving community for everyone. Today's learning session has been designed with our settlement leaders here in Waterloo region to equip our professionals working on the front lines with the information, tools, and resources that you need to help your clients and meet their needs. Over the next few hours, we will hear from experts in our community who will be sharing with you key insights about all of the different services and language learning programs and employment supports that are available to the newcomers that you are helping in your day-to-day. To make this session a little bit interactive, we will be using Slido to guide the Q&A sessions. For that, you will need your mobile phone at some point. You can take note of the questions that you have, submit them by using Slido. There's a paper on each of the tables that has a QR code. If you go to slido.com, then you'll be able to get in, and as our speakers are sharing their information, you can put in your questions and you can vote them up. And then when it comes to the Q&A portion of the morning, we'll be able to address what are the most pressing questions that we have in the room today. So without further ado, let's dive right into the first part of our morning, which is about addressing language barriers in Waterloo region. And so I would like to welcome up our first speaker for this session, Jason Kempthorne. Jason is an experienced language assessor with the YMCA of Three Rivers, where he helps eligible clients obtain their Canadian language benchmarks. He has a strong passion to help clients improve their language skills and connect with all community partners in the region to help newcomers succeed. He has recently accepted a new role as a language assessor coordinator. He began working in the language industry in 2007 as a link instructor with Conestoga College. Please welcome Jason to the stage.
Okay, hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having the language assessment team come here today to speak to you. There is a lot to share, some new things, also a very nice reminder to what is happening in the language assessment world. So my name is Jason. I am a language assessor for the YMCA of Three Rivers, 15 years of experience doing this as a language assessor. We have put together a PowerPoint presentation, which is here. I have a clicker. Hey, great. Okay, so just thought we would get a quick overview of language assessment. So what is an assessment and why do you need an assessment? An assessment is a tool that will measure your language ability. We are measuring your ability in 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Very important to note, this is not a test. People are always very nervous. It's a test. It's not a pass. There's no fail. We just want to measure how you are doing with your language ability. Many clients that have an assessment are there for a purpose. So having an assessment will help an assessor to know what is the best program for you and how to guide you in the right directions to meet your goals. Okay, go. All right. We use a measurement tool called a Canadian Language Benchmark. We often refer to it as a CLB or perhaps an English level. CLBs are used throughout Canada to test and to teach adult language learners. Important to know your CLBs. This way you can go to school, you know which classroom you need to be placed into. Also help you to, for work, if you need this for a work purpose or just to continue your education. ESL programs, link programs, they are both using CLBs to place clients into an appropriate level to help them properly learn as the curriculum will be designed around their English ability. Okay, eligibility. Who is allowed to have a language assessment? Sorry, who's eligible to have an assessment? Who can access our service? Eligibility is always an ongoing conversation. We're always bouncing new ideas. We're always learning about new things with eligibility. There are some points here. So right at the top, talking about your first language is not English, and you need to be born outside of Canada. You need to be an adult 18 years or older, or have some sort of proof that you have completed high school in your first country. And then the rest are showing who is coming into our office to access our services. Most commonly, we are helping permanent residents, also naturalized Canadian citizens, convention refugees, refugee claimants, approved in principle nominees. And then there are some work permits that we are allowed to help. So work permit, if you are here with a letter from the IRC confirming that you have received initial approval to be a PR. Work permit holders that do have approval of PR on their permit. And the last one is about the live-in caregiver. So the work permit, I believe the case type 20 is the live-in caregiver permit. Probably easier to tell you who is not eligible to have a language assessment. So that is people who are Canadian-born citizens, if you're here on a visitor visa, international students, as well as work permits, with the exception of the 3 that I just mentioned. The last one there, the special IRC programs. Okay, so the first one there talks about the COET program. This is the work permit for the Ukrainian newcomers. They are eligible for a free language assessment, also eligible to access IRCC-funded programs, as well as MLI-TSD programs. You may have heard in the news that there is going to be a change, and there will no longer be funding from the IRC for these programs. So what does that mean for learners who are in IRC-funded programs? Good news, we have received confirmation that they are able to stay in their classes until the end of the school year, which would be June 2025. The second one, Gaza. Okay, so crisis in Gaza. We are seeing more and more clients that are coming through with this documentation. They are eligible for a free language assessment, and they are eligible to attend IRC-funded programs to learn English only. So if you are speaking with someone who is here from Gaza, please send them to us, get them an assessment, and we'll get them learning English. Also, as I said, it's an ongoing conversation about eligibility. If you do come into a situation you're not sure, just contact the Language Assessment Center and we will get that answer for you. Assessment process, so it's broken down here into 3 parts. This is what happens when the client comes to the office for an appointment. Listening and speaking is combined together. It's a one-on-one interview with the assessor and the client. The reading and writing portion is done independently. And then the whole process is going to take on average about 1.5 to 3 hours to complete, depending on your level of English and depending on which tool is chosen to do it. The language assessment is 100% free. It's a free program, and you are able to have multiple assessments. Though there is a catch, of course. There is a waiting period. There's a 1-year waiting period from the date of your last assessment, or a 1-year waiting period from the date that you last attended an English class. Then the last block there is referral to class. So at the completion of the assessment, the assessor will sit with the client, go over the results, and talk about options. If it's available, there will be a referral to class. If not, perhaps a referral to a wait list, which is becoming more common now, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. It's a breakdown of the way things work. So when you come to the Language Assessment Center, we are measuring your skills from a benchmark 1 up to a benchmark 8. In our assessment center, we are able to measure your ability up to a benchmark 10. You need to do the initial assessment have strong results, and then you're eligible for what's called an enhanced language assessment. Also important to note that your results from your language assessment is not sufficient proof for applying for Canadian citizenship. This is a common question that clients are asking. If that is the purpose, you do need to attend an ESL or a LINK program, and you will obtain a certificate from your teacher. That is the proof that you need to apply for citizenship. So I just put a couple of common questions that is asked from clients. There's lots of common questions. This is just a quick example. So can I take more than one class, and how fast can I move up to a higher level? Can I take more of one class? Of course you can, if it is available, and as long as they don't overlap in time, of course. If seats are available, you will be referred immediately to a class. If not, then you will be referred to a waiting list. How fast can I move to a higher level? Well, this is up to the client, up to the learner, as well as the teacher. You will work together. There are some requirements that need to be met in the classroom before you are able to advance to the next level. Okay, so there is a new process that has been introduced, the impact of the waitlist management. This is a process that's going to help both service providers as well as the clients. So the waitlist upgrade solution will ensure accuracy of data, visibility, and minimize administrative impact. This means that it's going to help to minimize the length of the waitlist. And in all of the classes, some of them more than others, the waitlists are getting very long, so this will help to reduce the size of the waitlist. Benefits for the clients. Clients will have visibility and access their current waitlist information. Have a language assessment, you are referred to a waitlist. You are going to be in constant communication between the service provider and the client. This will be done through email or perhaps a text message. The communication will be informing you of your status on the waiting list, will be letting you know what you need to do, and there might even be times where you do need to respond to the emails. Because of this, you can opt to have the email sent to you in your own language. This will help a lot for the lower level clients, and it will give you action to remain on the list, and it will assure that the waitlist data and reduce the time to require to maintain it by service providers. It's anticipated that the overall numbers of clients on the waitlist will decrease. And then the next couple of slides are just some examples of what these emails or text messages may look like. So this is the initial one, letting you know, confirming that you're on a waiting list and that you will need to take action and to keep an eye out for any more emails that come. This is an example of the communication form. This is something that you do need to fill out and return to the service provider. This is why it's nice that you can receive this information in your first language. And then the last one is a final reminder, and you can see there at the bottom, if there is no response after a certain amount of days, you will be removed from the waiting list. So this is a new process that has been started, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it will relieve some of the waitlist concerns that are happening in the classroom. Okay, so look at how do you get a hold of us? What is happening? Okay, so the first one here is Kitchener, our Kitchener office at 800 King Street. We are doing assessments there every day. We have multiple assessors that are there to help clients. Also, to let you know that we are doing online assessments as well. We still are. We're doing a lot of online assessments. There is still a high demand. We have at least one assessor a day that is scheduled to do the online testing. So we have the Kitchener office. We also have the Cambridge office. We are in Cambridge every Monday doing language assessments, and we're even visible there in Stratford. We have some YMCA staff members that are able to connect with clients to do an online assessment. or even if there is a large amount of assessments needing to be done in Stratford, we are flexible. We can do itinerant assessments. The phone numbers for each of those locations are there. You can call, the client can call, can make an appointment. And look there at that email, intake@ytr.ymca.ca. Send an email, have the client send an email. It will go directly to our intake workers, and they will contact the client to book an appointment either for in-person or for online. Okay, that's what I had. Sava, I don't know how my time is doing. I know I rushed through a lot of things. I spoke very quick. I am going to be at the YMCA booth later today if you have any other questions or want to talk about anything. I hope that was okay for everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Jason, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and all of the information about what are very complicated programs with all of the guidelines and the eligibility. I think it's really helpful that we're able to talk about all of this together. I'm seeing that there are some questions already popping up in the Slido, so that's good. Some of you have gotten in. If anybody is having trouble with the Slido, maybe you can ask a neighbor for some help or put up your hand and somebody can maybe come around and help you. I would now like to invite Alison Wilson and Serena Reis from Conestoga College to come up to talk about portfolio-based language assessment. Serena is an experienced educator with over 25 years in the field of language instruction. She has been involved with in LINC nearly since its inception and has taught literacy to CLB Level 8. Currently, she serves as the LINC program coordinator, a professor, and PBLA lead at Conestoga College. Alison Wilson is currently a professor in the Conestoga College LINC program, and she serves as the level lead for CBL 3 and 4. She was also part of cohort 1 of the PBLA lead teachers. With over 15 years of teaching experience, Alison has taught at every level and has extensive experience working with literacy learners and has dedicated professional development to learning how to best support this group of students. Alison and Serena, over to you.
Thank you so much for having us. We are here, as Tera said, to talk about portfolio-based language assessment programs. So we use the acronym PBLA. And PBLA is a federal government initiative that began its rollout in 2017 in LINC and ESL programs across the country. So it is a teaching and assessment model that was designed to enhance consistency and standards in ESL nationwide. All right, we're good. Thank you. So just a quick, there's two of us up here. So I'm Alison. Thank you for the introductions, Tera. And this is Serena, and we both work for Conestoga College LINC, which is one of the PBLA-based programs. And as Tera mentioned, we were a part of the cohort 1 rollout in 2017. So we were a part of the pilot testing, the first ones to see how it went. And it was a rocky start, but we got there, and we're using it pretty smoothly currently. And I'm going to hand it over to Serena, and she's just going to start with some eligibility for our programming.
All right, let's look at eligibility for LINC and ESL programs. Some of this will be repetitive, as Jason has already explained this. So both programs are free, and they are funded differently. LINC is funded by IRCC, and ESL is funded by the Ontario Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. For LINC programs, learners must be 18 years and older, permanent residents, or convention refugees. For ESL programs, learners must be 18 years and older, permanent residents, convention refugees, landed immigrants, refugee claimants, or Canadian citizens not born in Canada where English is not their first language. And as Jason explained before, there are also some other exceptions. So as Jason mentioned, Before a learner can join a class, they need to get a language assessment through the Y. The results of the assessment indicate their CLB level, and the Y will place the learner in a class or on a wait list. Now, Alison will talk about the CLB and the PBLA process.
Okay, so to start with, as I said, the PBLA is a teaching and assessment model. So we base our curriculum off of this alongside the Canadian language benchmarks and the ESL for All, which is the document for our literacy learners who could be foundation literacy or stage 1 literacy. And as Jason talked a little bit about as well, the CLB is a descriptive scale of language ability in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And it works us through CLB 1 to CLB 8, which we use in our programs. The CLB is task-based. So an example of a task would be making a doctor's appointment. And it focuses on the 3 areas of community, study, and work. So some examples of that we will see are, you can see a list here. We're going to go just quickly through some modules. So we have 10 link themes. And modules is the term we use. Some people might use a theme or a unit. We use this as our term to speak of a compilation of task-based activities. And we saw before the example of making a doctor's appointment, here you can see we have modules based on the 10 link themes. I won't read through all of them, but you can see, for example, at home, in our community, in the world, a task would be talking to your landlord. So that's how we plan and teach and assess our learners. The next slide is the link themes continued. So we have education, employment, health and safety. That's where we see making a doctor's appointment, individuals, families, and relationships, and travel and transportation. Example modules are available freely to the public. You can find them on the Center for the Canadian Language Benchmarks website, where they have created them and post them for linked instructors as well as ESL instructors to use. So a little more detail about what a module looks like. You can see the module process on this slide. And this is what a PBLA module looks like. This is what we work within how our instructors plan and teach and deliver our materials. So we start with a needs assessment. PBLA is very much learner-driven. The instructors do not choose what the learners will talk about in class, will work on. We give them options. And this is through the needs assessment. We give them a list of choices. That list, the length of that list depends on the level that they're at, shorter ones for the lower levels. And once they've decided that, we move into goal setting, which is the second square there. And this is where the learners get to choose what they want to work on, why this module is important to them, and what they hope to get out of it. Then we move into the skill building tasks, and those are the grammar tasks, the spelling tasks, kind of all of those little skills that we're working on, and we need to do the skill using tasks. And the skill using and assessment tasks then finally are what go into the learners' portfolios and what the teachers base their judgment on for whether there is movement or not in a particular skill. And then they will also do a module reflection at the end to reflect back on those goals, see how far they have come and what they would like to continue to work on. Then the last part, or part of the last part of that, is the language companion and the portfolio, which is where all of the skill using and assessment tasks are housed. So currently it's a binder that is supplied by our funder, IRCC, and it supports learning and PBLA across Canada. So there is a literacy version, a stage 1 version, which is CLB 1 to 4, and a stage 2 version, which is CLB 5 to 8. And learners use this binder to organize their notes, to organize their portfolio. There is also additional information that they can refer to. There is an electronic version that most programs are using as well now, and that is found on avenue.ca, which is a learning management system that was also funded by IRCC. And then the last part are those promotions. So we take a look at those portfolios, whether it's the physical binder or whether it's the e-portfolio in Avenue. The instructors will review, they will make decisions based on the learner's progress, and then make benchmark changes where necessary. We then meet with the learners to discuss their progress, ask them how they're feeling, where they feel they could improve, what they would like to continue working on, and then there is a report that is generated. Link certificates can also be given, and as Jason mentioned, these are what the learners will submit for their application for citizenship. And generally to apply for citizenship, it's a CLB4 in listening and speaking is what our learners are working towards. Okay, I'm going to pass this over back to Serena to talk a little bit more about what our programs do.
After promotions, there are possible pathways that learners can choose after completing CLB 6 or higher. One of the choices would be OSLT, Occupation Specific Language Training, which Natalie will be giving you more information on shortly. Then there's academic upgrading at Conestoga. It's a free program focusing on English, math, science, and computer skills. Another choice would be English Language Studies at Conestoga College, which is an academic English program for learners who want to prepare for college or university. And St. Louis also offers secondary school credits and skill training programs such as hairstyling, personal support worker, culinary arts, and hospitality. So St. Louis currently offers LINK and ESL classes. LINK classes are from Literacy to CLB 7. Classes are in person in Kitchener in the morning and afternoon. Learners have access to childminding and transportation assistance. ESL classes are from Literacy to CLB 8. Classes are in person and online in Kitchener in the morning, afternoon, and evening. And finally, Conestoga Link offers classes. Conestoga Link offers classes from Literacy to CLB 8. Classes are located in Cambridge, Kitchener, and Waterloo. Learners can choose from in-person, online, hybrid, so this is where classes are some days online and some days in person, and high flex. And this is where learners can choose to be in person or online on any given day. Classes are offered in the morning, afternoon, and evening, and childminding and transportation assistance are also available. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison and Serena, for sharing that information with us. We all know that these programs are very complicated, and it's really nice to hear from some of the experts in our region to help guide us through what the programs mean. So I'd now like to welcome up, where am I? Tera Dargavel, Conversational English Coordinator at the KW Multicultural Center. Tera connects newcomers to screened and trained volunteers for informal language support. We all know I'm seeing lots of questions in the Slido about waitlists, so when we run out of space in our formal classes, there are many other opportunities for newcomers to engage in language learning. Tera has been working with newcomers at the Multicultural Center since 2019 when she began as a social work placement student. She's here today to share information about the various informal language support programs that are available to the people that you're working with here in Waterloo Region. Thank you, Tera.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Tera, and I'm here on behalf of YMCA, Kitchener Public Library, and KW Multicultural Center to discuss the informal language support programs that are available in the community. So I'll start with the YMCA of Three Rivers, and I'll start with their English conversation circles. So this is informal language support to help newcomers improve their spoken English, build confidence, and foster connections with others in the community. Runs throughout the year from January to June and September to December. It can be accessed by newcomers who are ineligible for ESL or LINK classes or are on the wait list for those classes. But as you can see, priority is given to permanent residents and convention refugees. There are a number of in-person circles at KPL, WPL, the YMCA in Cambridge, and the community center in Chandler Mowat area, but starting in January. They have been averaging 50 clients per session, but can reach as high as 90. So yes, these are a popular option in our community. They also have online circles in English and French at various times throughout the year. So there is a typo on this slide, but you can get contact information at the YMCA booth. They're in the hallway. They have flyers. They have the correct contact information, and the correct information will be available on the slides after this morning. So I will keep going. For the YMCA, there's Summer Conversation Circle. This is also an in-person circle. It runs July to August, which is about 5 to 6 weeks, about 10 sessions in the summertime, 2 hours per session. Clients are grouped based on their CLB levels for tailored learning. This is a structured curriculum, focuses on English practice, set topics, and engagement opportunities for self-expression and the everyday needs for newcomers. Clients do have to register for this program, unlike the English Conversation Circle that is drop-in. So this is a registered program, open to all, but priority again given to PR and convention refugees. This happens in person at their office in Kitchener. And also I thought this was fun. The program concludes with a potluck celebration that provides participants with an opportunity to celebrate their progress, share cultural experiences, and build stronger community connections. And the family language and learning for school-age children, I often get questions about what is available for youth, English learning support for youth. This is one program. The program goal is to provide school-age students with homework support, enhance language skills, and academic success, so English and homework support together. It is for school-age children and teenagers. It's a partnership with United for Literacy. They offer this 4 times a year, 7 session terms with a capacity of 35 students per term. So other statuses can join if capacity allows, but again, priority is given to PR and convention refugees, and this happens in person at their Kitchener office as well. Again, my apologies, there's a typo with the contact information, but it will be fixed in the slides that are sent to you. So now I'd like to talk about the Kitchener Public Library and their informal language support programs. So they also have English conversation circles. These circles are provided at each branch of the Kitchener Public Library. The central location, for example, in downtown Kitchener, has a circle there that's run in partnership with the YMCA of Three Rivers. They also have a women's circle, and the KPL also offers a virtual Practice Your English program, which is like a conversation circle online. So these programs are volunteer run, and they run from September to June. They are drop-in, there is no eligibility requirements, and there are no wait lists for this. But they are having some difficulty with finding volunteers for these programs because of how long they run, September to June. Next, I'll talk about the English Language Learner Book Club. This is run by staff at KPL. It involves meeting to discuss a chosen book that has been chosen for its suitability for English language learners. The last one I saw, I think, was CLB 5. So participants do need to register ahead of time to pick up the book. There is no eligibility requirements except to register, and there's usually 10 spots which fill up pretty quickly. Other resources, informal language support available through the Kitchener Public Library are their physical resources, like their literacy collections at all libraries, including books, CDs, reading club book sets. So you could ask a librarian for books suitable for a CLB4 or a CLB6, for example. They also have their digital resources. Most of these resources do require a free library card with a Kitchener or Waterloo address and can be accessed on their website. And that is the contact information for the librarian of ESL and newcomer services. And then lastly, the Kitchener-Waterloo Multicultural Center and the informal language support programs offered there. So we also have an English conversation circle. It runs 3 to 4 times a year for 8-week sessions. There's no eligibility requirements, no wait list. We're averaging about 8 people per week, but it can range from 3 to 16. And there's a wide range of CLB levels at these circles. And the Conversational English program, this is a one-on-one volunteer-based program. It can be used by people who are on the wait list for LINC or ESL, and also people who are attending classes can also use this. Volunteers meet with the learner, they're matched one-on-one, and they meet for 1 hour a week for a minimum of 4 months, either online or in person in the community, places like coffee shops and libraries. You can see the eligibility requirements on the slide there, as well as a language requirement because it's volunteer-based and conversation-based. A language requirement is CLB3 and above. And our wait lists are about 1 to 4 months, always going up, always going down. Today, 1 to 4 months. The goal of this program is to help newcomers build confidence and comfort speaking in English and to increase their community connections. And there is the contact information for both of those programs. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tera, for sharing all of that information about the various conversation circles and informal language learning programs that are available across the region to support newcomers in their language learning journey. I think this is really helpful information for everyone. And I would now like to welcome up to the stage Natalie Hughes to talk about the occupation-specific language training that is available at Conestoga College. Natalie is the chair of the Conestoga Language Institute and manager of the International English Language Training Systems at Conestoga College Services. A higher education administrative professional, educator, and project manager, Natalie exemplifies a strong passion for English as a second language and international academic programming, English language testing, and custom programming and global learning. Thank you, Natalie, for joining us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone. Almost afternoon. I am very happy to talk to you all today about OSLT. OSLT is called Occupation-Specific Language Training. And essentially, these courses are courses meant to help newcomers with their workplace communication skills. They focus on language skills needed for particular industries and also particular occupations. There are many different OSLT courses, and all of these are focused on different sectors. So there's a large list that you can see posted there. I won't go into all of the courses because you can read them, but just as a highlight, there are courses available in business. We also have courses in health sciences, as well as human services and technology. And all of the courses available for OSLT are available on the Colleges Ontario OSLT website, and you can see the website listed there. The one piece I would also like to highlight is that OSLT courses are funded by IRCC, and they are also helped organized by Colleges Ontario. So Colleges Ontario is the body that organizes all of the OSLT courses, and the courses are facilitated and run by different Ontario colleges and other providers. Here are some of the general outcomes of participants who take OSLT courses. So again, the focus is to develop language and communication skills across a variety of different sectors. And so because the focus is on many different sectors, the general outcomes are a bit broad, but you can see they are to understand workplace culture in their occupation and sector, whatever that particular sector might be, to interact effectively with their colleagues, clients, and supervisors, to give and receive information by email and by telephone. So again, we're looking at written and verbal communication, as well as to interview and to network effectively. So these are the general outcomes of an OSLT course. Conestoga College is one college that does offer OSLT courses. There are many other providers as well. We offer approximately 4 to 5 OSLT courses in any given year. And the courses are selected based on interest of participants as well as registration numbers. So we do have minimum numbers in order to be able to run OSLT courses. Some of our most common courses that we do run are workplace communication skills for accounting and finance, as well as technology and healthcare. So these, the courses that folks like to take do change depending on their interest, but these are some of the common courses that we do normally run. And I've listed here the contact information. So should you have any questions about OSLT at Conestoga, you can find our email here. OSLT is also run by St. Louis. And so I have some information as well on behalf of St. Louis. So OSLT programs at St. Louis English for Work are designed to build the language skills needed, again, to help people succeed in the workplace. And course offerings are based, again, on participant interest as well as registration numbers. The current course offerings at St. Louis are English for PSWs. And I have the contact information there should you like some more information about St. Louis and their OSLT programs. Okay, I know this is small text, so I'll read it out for you. But high level, the eligibility requirements for OSLT include that participants must be permanent residents, convention refugees or protected persons, Ukrainian temporary residents, or their dependents in Canada. So as Jason had mentioned, this originally goes until March 31st. However, if you're in an OSLT program, this is extended until the end of June. Or temporary residents affected by the crisis in Gaza. Folks taking OSLT must reside in Ontario, and they must have, this is the very particular piece about OSLT that sets it apart from other language programs. So the participants must have training or experience in a specific occupation or an industry, but their goal is to improve their language and their specific communication skills within that industry. Okay, so again, they have experience in an industry, but their goal is to improve their communication skills within that industry with the hope of hopefully securing employment. And they also must have a valid language proficiency of at least 5 in Canadian language benchmarks. So those are the requirements to take OSLT. Anyone who would like to register for OSLT, this is the registration information for Conestoga, but there is an online registration form that's completed, and you can email this information here, and they will provide you with the registration form and make sure that all of the requirements are met. Here are some interesting facts about OSLT. And again, this is small, but I'll highlight just a few for you. You will receive these slides. These facts are really interesting because as part of Colleges Ontario's delivery of OSLT, there is many different reporting functions, so we can get clients' feedback and their thoughts, and we can really generate some good statistics about the use of OSLT and how effective it is for folks. But some of these facts that I found were interesting were courses delivered by qualified language faculty, so that's who deliver OSLT courses, and successful participants receive an OSLT credential from the college. Over 95% of OSLT participants annually report extremely high rates of satisfaction with OSLT, so there's a very good rate of satisfaction. There are 12 participating colleges who support OSLT courses, including others like St. Louis. 100% of newcomers who enroll in OSLT are internationally trained or have experience in the sector. And again, the whole point of OSLT is to improve their experience that they already have. So this is a requirement in order to take these courses. 80% of OSLT graduates find work, complete licensure or other professional credentials, or attend bridging programs to further extend their training within 4 months of graduating OSLT. And finally, since its start to the end of fiscal 2024, OSLT will have served 15,500 newcomers in Ontario, and the colleges will have delivered over 830 classroom-based and blended OSLT courses and over 225 online courses and modules. So it's a well-run program, and it's run for quite a long time. Okay, I do have a video at the end. I'm not sure if the audio will work, but we'll give it a try. And this just gives you a bit of summary about OSLT.
I wanted to go to Canada because it's the dream of my mom.
Although I had good experience and background in my field, I couldn't find the right job. And I felt stuck.
My challenges are bucket list. I have my family. I have to look for courses. I have to push myself to say, this is your dream, so move.
I was looking for a bridging program, and I found OSLT, a language course supported by the federal government of Canada and conducted in different colleges. It's a very specific language training course for professional communities.
As a nurse, communication is a big piece. When I found the OSLT, it's a door opener for me.
So OSLT prepared me to be in the room with someone from HR or head of the IT department.
Having this job now in my specialty, I feel so blessed and accomplished. Okay, we're good.
It gave me confidence to be the person that I wanted to be. My name is Ashkan Vafa. I'm a senior system administrator from Iran.
My name is Jennifer Lopez. I'm a registered practical nurse from Philippines.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natalie. I think we all know that meaningful employment is the goal for so many of the people that you are supporting. So it's good to know that we have some of these really workplace-focused and occupation-specific language learning programs to help people overcome that barrier to getting into that employment that they're looking for. And so I'd now like to welcome up the final speaker for our segment this morning, Jean de Dieu Basabose. He is a settlement worker at Collège Boreal here in Waterloo region, and he has been helping newcomers, especially our Francophone newcomers, since 2020. He works to make the region more welcoming for French-speaking immigrants and plays a key role in setting up French language training for newcomers in the region. Good morning and thank you.
Bonjour à tout le monde. Bonjour. Hello, everyone. I am pleased to present about the French training options for newcomers to Waterloo region. This is an easy task to do for me, not because French language is an easy language to learn, but because we don't have many options for adult newcomers who want to learn French in our region. At Collège Boreal, we have 3 options for those who want to learn French. We have a CLIC, it's the equivalent of LINK, Cours de langue pour les immigrants au Canada. We have a CLIC adapté. It's a CLIC adapted to the learner's path. And also we have French as a second language, FSL, Français langue seconde. Collège Boreal offers a French training program for newcomers. This program is designed for beginners up to CLB level 3. To be eligible, learner or applicant must be a permanent resident, convention refugee, or protected person. She or he must be 18 years old or older. Classes are taking place in person and are held year-round from September to June, twice a week from 6 to 8:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Last year, we had our class taking place at Conestoga College. It's our pleasure to collaborate with Conestoga College in starting this program. But most of our clients requested us to move the class to downtown Kitchener to help them, in transportation and so on. And in collaboration with Reception House, we moved the class there. Now the class is taking place at this new location on 101 Frederick Street in Kitchener. One of the challenges our clients face is about assessment. We don't have assessment center for French, for those who want to learn to be assessed in French language or having French assessment here in the region. Clients are referred to YMCA Toronto or Ottawa for assessment. For Click Adapté, eligible newcomers also could access Click Adapté. This is an online French training program offered by Collège Boréal. For eligibility, the same as the eligibility for Click. The learner must have a minimum level proficiency level of CLB2 in French. This is the minimum level because the program has requires learners to be able to follow some programs and also to discuss with others in the same class. The third option, which is for everyone, I must say that I have offered access to work in supporting newcomers to access language here, but I have been frustrated to receive clients, Canadian citizens who want to learn French, and it has been hard for me to say, no, we don't have option for, for you. But there is French as a second language training option that other people can access. This is a paid option. Unfortunately, people have to pay. Individuals who are not eligible for Click or Click Adapté are encouraged to explore the FSL option. Collège Boréal has the FSL option available online. Our next session of FSL group course begins the week of January 13, 2025. Classes are held once a week in the evening from 6 to 9 for 15 weeks. During this program, there are many conversational classes offered. Please note that these online courses are offered using Zoom. As an ending remark, and as someone who have been working toward making our region more welcoming and attractive to Francophone newcomers, I would like to say that there is a need to increase investment to provide more options for those who want to learn French in our region. Recently, we had a Francophone week. In November, we celebrated what is called Semaine Nationale pour Immigration Francophone. In one of discussions we have at the reception house, we were told that after Ottawa and Toronto, Waterloo region is the third region to receive Francophone newcomers in Ontario. So this is why I emphasize on that we need to increase investment to provide the more options for French learning. There must be, or there may exist other initiatives to help people learn French in the region that I may not be aware of. For example, I recently learned that YMCA of Three Rivers in Cambridge organize French conversation circles. This is just the information I got last week when I was exploring, when I was learning about what is happening in terms of learning French in this region. We need to set up and develop French conversation circles to give learners the opportunity to improve daily French expression. Some organizations, such as the Association des Francophones de Kitchener-Waterloo and YMCA, have organized activities to promote the French language, but more support is needed for these initiatives. I thank you.
Merci, Jean de Dieu, for coming to speak to us about the French language learning options for newcomers here in Waterloo Region en anglais. It is not lost on me that we are asking you to speak about other language programs in English today, and thank you for doing that. I think it's really important. We have newcomers coming from around the world. We are an officially bilingual country, and it is really important that we are helping to improve access to services for our Francophone newcomers and to make them feel that they are welcome and belonging here because we have programming available to them in their first language. So thank you. I would now like to invite all of our speakers from this morning back up onto the stage, and we're going to begin the Q&A portion of our morning. So Jason, Tera, Natalie, and Jean de Dieu, I understand that you're going to be joining me up on stage this morning. And I have seen that folks were using the Slido. I hope that everybody was able to get into it. There are lots of questions in there, and some of you have been going in and voting up the questions. If you haven't yet done that, go in, give a like to the questions that you really want to hear the answers to, because that will push them up in the queue, and we'll get to hear from those. But I will also say that I believe, as with each of the other series, segments in this series that we have had this year, we will be following up after with a brief response to all of the questions that are submitted. Okay, so there was a lot of information shared this morning and a lot of really specific details, and I've seen a lot of people making notes. So that means that we're giving out information that is helpful for the room, so that is very good. So now let's move into some of the questions that folks have submitted and move on with responding. Okay, so the first question is not about the programs themselves, but about how we are advocating to increase the numbers of classes and English programs in our community. And I guess I would add to that French classes as well. The wait list is quite long. And similarly, there's too much wait time for people to take classes. Are we able to sort that out? Are any of you able to speak from the perspective of the organizations that you're representing to some of the work that you're trying to do to build capacity in the space in our classrooms?
I can start and then I'll pass it on. So the first piece to share is that funding for many of these programs comes from IRCC. So the available classes that are run are based on the funding that is available to us. So lack in funding kind of correlates to less classes being run. So that's the first thing to understand. So the classes that are being run currently are being provided with the available funding that is provided to us. The second part to that question is asking about the wait list. That's a great question, and Jason had spoken about that earlier in his presentation, but explaining that there's a new wait list management system that's helping to minimize the wait list And within language programs themselves, we're also looking at ways to make sure that we are keeping our wait list as low as we can by making sure that folks understand the importance of attending classes. Folks that aren't attending classes are removed so that there is space for other folks to join classes.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add to the wait list and the frustration of clients at the assessment center when they are realizing that they're going to spend months on a waiting list. We do have a wealth of resources that we are passing along to our clients. A lot of it was talked about in conversation circles at the YMCA, community centers, and libraries. We have all those resources as well. Some of the assessors have put together some tips on things that you can do in your everyday activities to help improve your English, kind of to get you doing things while you are on a waiting list until you're able to get into class.
Thank you both. Anything else to add to that one?
Yeah, sure.
For the English program at the KW Multicultural Center, just keeping track of the number of people who are not eligible and asking this to be reported to IRCC so they know that there is not enough spaces. Yeah, I think we are all very aware of that, but it may not be so evident to our funders.
For us, we don't have a waiting list. Rather, we have available places in our classes. But the problem is that it is taking long to have our client assessed because we have to send them either to Toronto or Ottawa, and it takes more time to get assessed.
Thank you, everyone. And I maybe would just add to that, that I know that the leaders of all of our settlement organizations in Waterloo region are pushing really hard every day with the funders for more resources for the language learning programs. And we talk about it a lot also through the immigration partnership, many conversations at our Settle Steering Group and at our Leadership Council. And it is definitely part of our messaging back to the federal government, the provincial government, and even with our regional elected leaders to understand that these are major barriers for people being able to get integrated into our community and into our workplaces. So that work is happening, doesn't always have the results as quickly as we would like. The next question on the list is to the YMCA specifically. Do you have a plan to offer French language assessment to newcomers in Waterloo region?
Hey, I can do this because I just had a situation yesterday where someone wanted a French assessment. So there is a demand, but it's not a great demand. So I think the answer to that question is probably over my head. I do not have the authority to say yes or no. I don't know what's happening with that. I don't think there's that great of a demand. The individuals that are looking to take French classes that are coming here, we are referring them directly to Toronto or Ottawa for an online French assessment. Just learning now that that wait list is long, so the demand is there in Toronto and Ottawa to get an appointment for that assessment. Yeah.
Okay, so something to maybe work on in the future. Again, we have a lot of questions about the wait lists. Everybody knows what an issue this is for everyone. So how long are the wait lists, and can we communicate clearly around what our wait lists are to help partially with managing expectations in the community?
So wait lists, the lower levels, level 1, 2, level 3, 4, these are the concerned areas. The wait lists are very long. Some of the wait lists are so long that we are unable to even place clients on a waiting list. This is because they are waiting for 6+ months just to receive information to go to a school. So these ones do not refer to a wait list, which is very frustrating to the clients. We are offering as many options, alternative options, to see what sort of flexibility they have, if they're willing to travel to a different city, if they're willing to take online classes. And then, of course, I mentioned before all the additional resources that we have to give them to help them to continue learning while they're on a waiting list. But definitely frustration for the clients, rightfully so.
So the next two questions are pretty similar, so I'm going to lump them together. Clients get very long and can be complex emails to them to confirm their interest in Link or their status on the wait list, which is bumping some people off because they're not following the steps. Is there any plans to simplify some of the messaging that goes out to clients about their waitlist status?
So you can probably answer this as well. This is about the waitlist management thing. Okay, so the waitlist management is new. I'm going to say maybe it's been 1 month that it started, but there was some problems because they started doing it for people that were on a wait list for a month already, so they were receiving communication and no one had informed them that they were going to receive communication. So there was a lot of lost in translation. They didn't know what the email was. They were either ignoring it or not following directions correctly. This hopefully will change moving forward. The assessment center is letting clients aware that they are going to receive communication. And now when they're in the assessment center on our database, we are indicating what their preferred language is. So lower learner will receive it in their first language.
I would also just add that because this is a newer initiative, I know that Hearts has been in contact with providers of Link to get their feedback about how this process is working, if they have any suggestions to these long, complex emails in ways that maybe we can make it more clear, or if there's opportunities to streamline it and make the communication, again, more clear to folks. So we have been providing our feedback to Hearts so that they can hopefully take this into consideration for all Link providers. But again, this is a newer program, so I think they're still learning as well. But that is a good question, and the feedback has been given as well. We've been getting that feedback as well from clients. Some of them just not very sure what the emails are referring to and a bit unclear about some of the next steps. So definitely agree with that.
Thank you both. So the next question is around virtual or telephone assessments. Is that an option available to people, and how does that work?
Yes, so this is an option right now. So in-person assessments, online is an appointment. There is an assessor waiting for you. We are currently doing it through a Zoom platform, but we do offer an independent online language assessment, the OSA assessment, where you will independently do 3 of the 4 sections. You don't need to have an assessor present for this. For the first 2 sections, your results are generated by the system. It is then sent to an assessor. The third one, the assessor will score and assign a benchmark. And then the 4th section is the speaking one, and that can be done over the telephone. Quite often, this is a great assessment for individuals that are working during the day and just cannot physically make an appointment during 9 to 5. So this gives them the opportunity to do it well into the evening or even on a weekend. And then assessors quite often will maybe work a little bit after hours just to do the speaking portion, which usually is only about a 15 or 20-minute process. And then the results are emailed and a referral is emailed as well. OSAs.
Great, thank you. The next question is about the differences between a Link class and an ESL class. Is there any difference between the Conestoga Link program and the St. Louis Link program?
So the first thing I'd share is ESL is run by St. Louis. So if I'm happy to provide their information if you have further specific information about ESL, but very high level, ESL is different than Link. They are not the same thing. They do have different outcomes in what they are meeting. So they are not the same program. The second question, is there any difference between Conestoga Link and St. Louis Link? That's another great question. Link itself is the same program in many different locations. So Conestoga is one location that offers Link, so is St. Louis. You can find Link in many locations. The differences between these programs are not what learners are learning. It might be the locations where they're taking the classes. It might be the different organizations that are running those programs, as well as some programs have other wraparound supports. So for example, when a client is going on a wait list for a program, they might be requesting perhaps child minding, or they might be requesting transportation support or other things that go along with their LINK program, and different LINK providers provide different wraparound support. So depending on what the client is looking for, they might be requesting one LINK program over another, but the program themselves follow PBLA, so they follow the same program, if you will. There are some other differences because it's based on different organizations that run the program.
Great, thank you. So the next question is about the French as a second language paid course. How much does that cost?
Yeah, thank you for the question. The fee for 45-hour course is $320 for Canadian citizen and permanent resident, plus textbook fees, if applicable, for your class. This is the information collected from the manager of this program. For international students, or for those with a work permit, the fee is $855.95, plus the textbook if applicable. And special senior rate is also available for students who are 6 years old and plus.
Thank you. Our next question comes back to the wait list again, and it's maybe a little bit more of a comment. For language assessment, will the wait list decrease, perhaps because clients won't understand how to stay opted in? I'm thinking people are feeling like that is going to happen, and so maybe is there any thinking around how to respond to that?
So I'm going to be optimistic and say no, that this is going to work very well. So we did receive confirmation that for lower level learners, for digital literacy learners, they are going to be receiving audio files in their language. So this will help a lot. And I think that the fact that they're going to receive these emails or text messages in their first language, they will be able to comprehend that they do need to respond. So again, I'm optimistic that this is definitely going to help with the waiting list. And also on the other side, so people are going to come back and say, I don't need to be on this waiting list anymore. I found another class or something else is going on in my life. And then that's when they will opt out, which will make the wait list shorter, because there's lots of people currently on the waiting list that probably are not interested in taking the class anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to skip over one and move on to some of the there's a few questions about some of the informal language learning options. Tera, for the KPL conversation circles, are the volunteers trained?
I assume so, but that I don't think is a good enough answer for you all. So I would recommend emailing Jingjin. She couldn't be here today, but I have her email. It will go out to you as well. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more about their volunteers, please contact her directly. I'm sorry I didn't find this information out beforehand. Yes, okay, so yes.
All right, thank you. Let's crowdsource the responses this morning. The next question is also about the informal language learning programs in the region. And do we have any in Cambridge, Waterloo, or our rural communities?
So yes, the YMCA offers an English conversation circle at the YMCA in Cambridge, the Chaplain Family YMCA. The conversational English program offered by the KW Multicultural Center is available to anyone in Waterloo region, including the townships. And crowdsource it then. Yeah, please.
Go ahead, Serena.
I know that there's opportunities at the Cambridge Association, and I believe the Idea Exchange, the Cambridge Public Library, also has conversation circles.
Thank you. Is that?
Yes, there is also an in-person English conversation circles in Strasbourg. Yes, hello. There is also English Conversation Circle in Strasbourg. Happens every Wednesday for 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's going to stop, tomorrow is the last class, and then it's going to resume in January. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll also just remind, we'll send all of this information back out to everybody with materials when we're all done, because there's so many different questions and details. The next question is, can those who are not eligible for the services pay for the classes and the assessments? So if they're not eligible for the free programming, do they have the option to pay?
Not at our center. If you want to attend English classes, I know Conestoga College, the Dune campus, they do have paid programs that you can take, and they do an assessment there to place you in the appropriate level. But as for right now, that's all that I am aware of. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Also, so outside of Link, there are many other programs that folks could take, which is what Jason's referring to. So at Conestoga College, we also have an English language studies program. We don't teach using PBLA. This is more an academic-based program, but we do have 4 levels, levels 1 to 4, and once folks meet level 4 requirements, then they meet the language requirements for their next post-secondary program. So this is a paid program. It's not funded by IRCC, but folks are eligible and they can pay to take this program if they would like to. There's different modalities for the program. It's slightly different than Link because it has an academic focus versus Link is not quite as much academically focused. So yes, there are options.
Thank you. The next question is about communication with the clients regarding the wait lists in their first language. So the emails that go out, and also about the form. And I think you spoke a little bit about this, Jason. Can those be in the client's first language?
Yes. Yes. So the database has generated, I believe, just over 20 of the most common languages that we can select. If your first language is not one of those 20, then it's going to be received in English. Is that right? Yes. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Can somebody speak to enhanced language assessment? What is this?
Yeah, that's the ELT, Enhanced Language Assessment. So you have an initial assessment. If you score a CLB 6 or higher, you are eligible to take an Enhanced Language Assessment. There is no waiting period. I said you need to wait 1 year before you can have a reassessment. That's not true for this language assessment. Once upon a time, this assessment was very popular. There were quite a few programs, engineering programs, nursing programs that were requiring a CLB 9 or higher. So this assessment used to be pretty popular. Not so much anymore. A lot of the programs are looking for a range between CLB 6 or 8. Those individuals that are still interested in doing it really just want to do it for their own personal knowledge of what their benchmark is. It's a little bit more of a lengthy assessment. It is based on work and work experience. And as for assessors in doing it, it's a pretty fun assessment to do. They get to give a little presentation for you, and you put them on the spot, and it's a neat assessment to do. But that's the ELT, Enhanced Language Assessment.
Okay, thank you. We have a question about the Ukrainians with the QIT visas. Once the IRCC funding for service to those folks runs out, does the free English assessment also end?
Is Sunanda here? Hi, Sunanda. Yeah.
So our language assessment, it is funded both provincially and federally. So under the provincial funding, we'll continue to offer the assessments and they'll be referred to the ESL program, not the link programs.
Wonderful. Some good news this morning. Thank you. We have a question about education centers and fees when a student gets enrolled in a language training program. Are the education centers allowed to charge fees for those programs? Are we talking about the school boards maybe as one of the language learning service providers? Anybody have any insights on that? Maybe that's one to come back to. Okay, we'll come back to that when we follow up after today with all of the Q&As. Next question is about the online portfolio platform Avenue. Does it allow learners to bring their progress from one service provider to another?
This is a great question. I'm going to bring up my colleague, Alison Wilson, to allow her the chance to answer this question.
Thank you, Natalie. Yes, so the idea of the online platform is that learners can be enrolled in courses with two different service providers. So they can be enrolled in our program at Conestoga College, and then maybe they are in a St. Louis program in the evening, and the instructors will be able to view the artifacts, the assessments, the skill using tasks that they are doing in another class. And then we would be able to make promotion decisions collaboratively. So we would be able to see that they are enrolled with another service provider, and when the end of an assessment cycle comes around, we can collaborate to make decisions about the learners' levels. So yes, that is the benefit. So students are not having to carry their physical binders from one site to another. There was a lot of confusion about that in the past, and sometimes they would have two binders and the instructor would not know they were enrolled somewhere else. This makes it very obvious.
Okay, thank you. The next question is about the OSLT certification. So that's the Occupation Specific Learning Programs. Can that certification be used as proof of training, for citizenship applications?
That's a great question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that because I don't want to give the wrong answer. I'm not exactly sure if it can be or not. Good question.
We have kind of a comment around how many newcomers are struggling to find a job, and many needing and wanting to be able to improve their language skills while we have long wait lists for the programs in our region. What would be your recommendation for things that those folks can do while they're kind of waiting through the wait lists?
I think Sananda has her hand up if she wants to start us off.
When we are talking about the wait lists, there is discussion that the bottleneck is the funding. So if there are not enough classes, people cannot attend classes. So in lieu of that, the new tool, the Morale tool that has been floated, that app can be shared with all clients. It has different levels of English. People can learn English as well as French through that tool. It's a free tool, use it, and maybe join our conversation circles as a backup. So those are some of the online resources people can continue to use as they work towards their employment readiness.
Yeah, I can add a couple of things. So yes, the informal language learning options like English conversation circles, these are drop-ins. So they're a very good option for people who maybe want to spend most of their time looking for work or end up working full-time and can't attend an English class full-time, even if they weren't on a wait list. So I always will, if I'm sitting down with a client and it's a great time, I usually know where they live. I can ask them what library, what YMCA location they're familiar with, let them know that there is a drop-in English conversation circle Usually the clients I'm talking to are then, being signed up for the conversational English program, which yes, also has a wait list of 1 to 4 months, which I like to think is very good. And that is 1 hour per week. So I know for a lot of newcomers that I talk to, it's a time issue as well. The other thing that I do is if they have not had a language assessment, I always refer them to a language assessment. So that way, everybody who does want to improve their English, that it's known that they want to join an English class if that is their goal. So yeah, making sure that people know their English level, that can help them, I think, in a lot of other ways too, just having that information. So yes, informal language learning options, drop in. A lot of the circles have no wait list, so those are good options.
Thank you. So I think the message is that we have a really wide range of programs available to people in the community, probably not enough of any of them, but there's something available for everyone at some time. The next question is with somebody who is working with a lot of literacy clients who are looking for work. Has any thought been given to how this cohort could be better served through, for example, workplace language classes? Is this something that any of you can share any insights on?
I can start us off. Yeah, at Conestoga College, I'll just share that we have link to work classes. And these are classes that are throughout our full link program, and they are geared towards supporting folks with the whole process of acquiring a job. So that's looking at employment, resumes, interviewing, really preparing for the workplace. So this is something that we have built into every level, including literacy all the way up to CLB 8. And so this is 1 day a week. All of our learners engage in link to work classes through our full program. We've done this for a few years now. We've done some great research over the last year just to show how important these classes are and how much clients actually really enjoy these classes and they find them very valuable. So that's something that we're doing at Conestoga.
Thank you. And I think we've got time for one more question. And I'll go with, where can we find more information about the French conversation circles at the YMCA?
Hello. You will find that information on our website, and also I will provide my email if you would like to reach out to me as well. Yeah, it's available in our website, YMCA of Three Rivers. Thank you.
Yeah, especially in Cambridge. Yeah, it's where you go to the information.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
It is a program run by volunteers. Yeah.
Okay. Merci. So thank you, Jason, Jean de Dieu, Natalie, Tera, Serena, and Alison, for all of you for generously sharing your information and your expertise and your knowledge with us this morning. We have so many programs that are available to support newcomers in our region on their learning journey. And it's been really wonderful to hear from all of you. And I think it's been really helpful to hear for everyone and be able to ask the questions that everybody has to be able to help the clients as best as possible. So we're now going to talk about the employment opportunities that newcomers in our region are seeking and all of the amazing programs that we have here who are helping them to find that success. And so I'd first like to invite Dave Thomas to the stage. Dave is the Industry Liaison Manager at the Kitchener-Waterloo Multicultural Centre. He is a bit of a legend in the immigrant services space in Waterloo region and with the Immigration Partnership. And he's the manager of the Waterloo Region Connectors Program, where he helps newcomers to build their professional networks through the WR Connectors Program. He manages also the KW Multicultural Center's employment outreach and engagement work. Over to you, Dave.
Hello, everyone. I hope the expectations haven't been set too high. I'm going to do a thing that you're not supposed to do, and that's to start with a joke. In these tough times, where it's more difficult to find a job, people are always asking me, where should I look for a job? And I always say, try search and rescue. They're always looking for people. Okay. All right. I didn't say it was a good joke. I'm from the Kitchener-Waterloo Multicultural Centre, where we have a number of programs in the areas of employment and settlement. And I'll speak about our employment programs. And specifically, two of them. There's our pre-employment program and WR Connectors. Now, these programs are funded by IRCC, so as you know, that creates some eligibility parameters. So our programs are open to permanent residents, convention refugees, live-in caregivers, and people from Ukraine who are here under the CU-AET program. Now, that does mean that there are some folks in the community that we're not able to serve, which is unfortunate, and as you probably know, our agency, like many others, has been advocating for years to IRCC to expand your eligibility, and they never do. But that's okay. But one thing it does mean, though, is that because, and this is for the Employment Ontario service providers who might be here, because we're not funded through EO, we're funded by the federal government, that means there's not a conflict if somebody is getting services from both an EO service provider as well as us. So that can help to provide a real circle of supports for people. So keep that in mind. Now, our pre-employment program, as the name suggests, is really about helping people to prepare for the job market here in Canada. Because most of our clients are usually pretty new to the country, and they may not understand all of the nuances and the ins and outs of the Canadian job market and how job search is done here. Now, our pre-employment program is actually really divided into two different levels based on a person's language proficiency. For levels 1 to 4, we have a program called First Job in Canada, which provides a more kind of basic version of our workshops, learning much about the basics of job search, resumes, interviews, etc., as well as health and safety and WMIS. And those workshops are provided in different languages. Our staff member who delivers it, my colleague Fatah, who's here, does sessions in Arabic and Kurdish, but also, because we have access to interpreters through our interpretation department, he's also delivered them with interpretation in many other languages. So if there's a sufficient demand to have a group run a workshop, that session could be in Tigrinya or Amharic or Spanish, Ukrainian, quite a number of different languages. So that helps to provide some of that information to people in a language that they are able to understand. And then the main pre-employment program is for levels 5 and up, and that is delivered in English. So it starts off with an assessment with one of our counselors who helps to learn about the person's situation, what kind of experience have they had searching for a job in Canada, et cetera, what are their career goals. And then we can refer them to a number of different resources, such as others in the community or resources that we're able to provide within KWMC. And the pre-employment program for levels 5 and up consists mainly of 2 workshop modules, which really cover all of the bases from interviews, resumes, understanding the Canadian labor market, understanding labor market information, what are job postings, what are they really looking for when you see those. And it also starts to get into how you market yourself and how you develop a personal brand. So the program can really help to prepare a person for beginning their journey looking for a job in Canada. Now, for many of our clients, that brings us to WR Connectors, which is the program that I work on. And so this is a program that really helps people to begin to build their professional networks in Canada. Because we know from experience how crucial networking is for career success here. But we also know that for newcomers, that can be really, really hard. Even if you're from here, Networking can be very nerve-wracking because a lot of people are shy and they don't like to necessarily talk to people they don't know, but yet we have to do that. Add on to that for a newcomer that their English is not their first language and it's a different culture, it can add even more challenges. Now, having said that, we look for level 7 CLB to come into WR connectors, and so people's English is pretty good by the time they get to that level. Now, a bit of background about the Connector program. It's based on a concept that started in Halifax, Nova Scotia 15 years ago. And the program is still running there, and the organization that runs it now actually coordinates a network of Connector programs across the country and even a few places internationally. So it has a good track record. And it first took off here in 2015. There was a pilot version of the program, and someone we all know and love, Saba, was a participant in that program and has become a great ambassador for the program ever since. But we've been running it now through IRCC funding since 2017. So we've been in operation 7 years, and we've helped quite a number of people to start their networking journey here in Canada. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. What we do first is to really help people to understand what networking is really about. What is it when you are presenting yourself out there? What are you communicating? The importance of having a personal brand and how you talk about yourself, how you listen, right? How you ask questions of people that you meet with, and how do you listen to those answers and then engage in conversations to start to build those connections. We also recruit volunteers from the community, the people who are our connectors, and those are people who are established in their industry or profession and who have a well-established network of their own, who are willing to share some of their time and knowledge and their expertise with the newcomer, and also to introduce that newcomer to 3 people in their network. So it's a really straightforward concept. The idea that you can meet with somebody who will talk to you about that industry, can offer insights, answer questions, offer advice, and then introduce you to 3 people that they know. It can be a really powerful way for somebody to get started on their networking journey. Now, I'm always clear with both clients and the connectors that there's not a job attached to this specifically. So for a connectee, that's our client, don't ask the connector for a job because they probably don't have one for you. But there is still value in meeting with that person because they know their industry, they know how that's working here in this community, and they can offer a lot of great tips to you, and they can introduce you to other people. Because really, building a network starts with those initial contacts and connections, developing relationships, gathering information, giving someone an opportunity to get to know you as well as you getting to know them. And that's ultimately what leads people to getting work. So we don't ask people to hide the fact that they're looking for work. It's just that's not the focus of this program. And it can have some great results. And one of the things I find most pleasing is that we've had quite a number of our connectees who, once they have become more established, have now served as connectors. Someone like my friend Natalia here, who you're going to be hearing from later this afternoon, for example, and Saba, who was a connectee and has been a connector several times. And so I think that's maybe the best indication of the success of a program like WR Connectors. Now, I haven't included a lot of slides. I've just really included the links and QR codes to our websites. That's probably the best place for you to start, for you to read up anything more, or to send clients to, because those are great starting points. I'm just going to finish off now with, because some of you may have noticed the shirt that I have on. It says Proponents, Champions of Immigrant Employment. This is a collaborative under the auspices of the Immigration Partnership, which involves a number of organizations like YMCA, Kinbridge Community Association, the Workplace and Immigrant Network. You're going to be hearing from these folks just in the next few minutes. Reception House, and Did I forget somebody? I think that's everybody. And what it is, we come together to collaborate and to be proponents for immigrant employment, to champion immigrant employment, particularly in our outreach with employers. You'll often see us at Chamber of Commerce networking events or other community happenings like this. And so we got these great new t-shirts designed by Deanna from the Immigration Partnership. And so if you see somebody in one of these shirts, come and talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. That was amazing. And well, you stole my notes because I was just writing down I need to make reference to the proponents and talk about all of the amazing work that you guys are trying to do together across organizations in what we know can be sometimes feel like competitive spaces. The coming together to do the work together is really important and really to the benefit of all of the clients that you are all supporting. So it's amazing that you're all doing that and together with Nora from our team. I would now like to welcome Gitanjali, Mehta, and Marsha Schlueter to the stage. Gitanjali is with the Power of Trade. She's the Power of Trades coordinator at the YMCA of Three Rivers, where she connects new immigrants to introduce the 144 trades in Ontario through individual consultancy meetings and interviews them to select clients for the Power of Trades cohort. Marsha is the Community Liaison Specialist at the YMCA of Three Rivers. She has been with the YMCA since 2017, where she facilitates the Mentorship program. Marsha is passionate about supporting newcomers to build meaningful social and professional networks in Canada. Welcome up to the stage, both of you, to talk about these awesome programs.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your attention. I just wanted to take a moment to thank Nora Whittington from Immigration Partnership for giving us this opportunity to speak and share about our programs, as well as Saba, your organization extraordinaire. This is a wonderful opportunity, these brown bag lunches, and I've already learned so much from so many of the programs. So my name is Marsha Schlueter, and as Tera shared, I am the Community Liaison Specialist for the Mentorship program at YMCA. So I'll be sharing about the mentorship program as well as a wonderful program called Investing in Women's Futures program. And my colleague Gitanjali, she'll be sharing about the Power of Trades and Newcomer Employment Youth program, and I'm going to let her go first.
Thank you, Marsha. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you here, all the faces, although it's new or old to me. And thank you, everyone, for having us here. My name is Gitanjali Mehta. I'm working as a coordinator of Power of Trades program with the YMCA of Three Rivers. Here, what we are doing, I can cover quickly because there is a lot of things to cover. You can ask any question later. Today I'm going to share two programs, the Power of Trades program and the Youth Employment program with the YMCA of Three Rivers. The Power of Trade program is a pre-employment readiness program for the newcomers for 4 weeks training, Monday to Friday, in person in the classroom. So what you will get in this 4 weeks learning, I can share with everyday new learning about 144 skill trades in Ontario, depend upon the participations interest in the session. It includes sessions apprenticeship knowledge, TEA, which is trade equivalence assessment knowledge, Canadian work culture, resume building, and some interview tips, etc. We have sessions every day, new topic. And we invite some guest speakers also from Ministry of Labour, Skill Trade Ontario, Conestoga, St. Louis, etc., to help our newcomers to understand our work culture environment and know more about the power of trades or the skill trade in Ontario. And participations also get opportunity to get the certifications done within our program. I can name some of them: WIMIS, AODA, First Aid, CPR, working at heights if required, and service excellence, food handler if someone belongs to food industry. So apart guest speakers, apart sessions, apart trainings, after 4 weeks, we will help them to get the job placement done in their respective trades. So for upcoming cohort, I would like to share, it's from 3rd February in Cambridge, Chaplin YMCA. So it will cover till 28th of February. So we are already in the process of interviewing the participants or who are eligible. So eligibility of this program is permanent resident Kuwait, Ukrainian people, and conventional refugee and 18 years of age and older, and CLB minimum 3 to 4, so they can understand the language what we are serving in English, the lectures and guest speakers information and online certifications also in the English language. So this is more about the Power of Trades program. I like proudly I can share with you, we have 90% result for the placement after this program. So my lead was saying to me, you should share. So I'm sharing here. And Youth Employment Program, this is next program, which is with the YMCA, I'm going to share with you. This program basically has for the newcomers group, age from 14 years older to 21 years old. We can say high school students they are accepting, and they have specialists who can serve them, the high school students, in the job search strategies, resume building, and interview preparation, career exploration, sharing the knowledge or information about upcoming job fairs and social networking events, so they can get benefit to get settled down in their career in Canada. And apart one-on-one discussion, they are also having workshops, ongoing workshops with different centers in our community: Victoria Hills, Chandler Mowat, and Kingsdale Community Center. So this is about the youth employment program. So I think I can share with Marsha. So she will share about our program. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yes. All right, so now I get to share about a program that is near and dear to my heart, which is the Mentorship program. It is designed to support internationally trained professionals who are new to Canada, and we match them with a mentor for 3 months currently in their professional field to provide guidance, insights, and support in their industry and to help build their professional networking. So the eligibility criteria is internationally trained professionals with valid confirmation of credentials, immigration status is permanent resident, conventional refugee with notice of decision, individuals from the Ukraine who possess the CUAET status in Canada, and the English proficiency is level 7. We learned a lot about a CLB this morning. So level 7 and above in the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the prerequisite is an employment preparation session completed in Canada. So they have that Canadian-style resume and cover letter. So now I also have the opportunity to share about an amazing program called Investing in Women's Futures. Now, the person who facilitates that program is Ananya. I'm going to ask her to stand up. I don't know if she... Yes, because then you know this is the name and the face. Yes, so she helps newcomer and marginalized individuals who identify as women get their economic footing in Canada. Our hope is to provide a safe space for participants to develop skills essential for job search and build resiliency and confidence. So the components of the program is computer literacy training, as well as customer service and life skills training, industrial sewing training, level 1 and 2, which is really, really cool. In our office on the first floor, you see all the sewing machines, and it's really, really quite awesome. We have our entrepreneurship workshop and one-on-one employment and life skills counseling. Now, the eligibility for the IWF program is they identify as women or non-binary person, newcomer, or part of a marginalized community. Canadian language benchmark is level 4 or above. And the contact information for all of our programs, I'll just bring it up here. So for the Power Trades is Gitanjali. For the youth program is Asar. I'm not sure if she's here today. Oh, yes. Hi. Okay, there's Asar. She's with our newcomer youth program. For myself is the Mentorship program, and then Investing in Women's Futures is Ananya. So thank you so much for lending your ears to listen and to learn about these valuable programs. Thank you for your continued support, for your referrals. I see some names that I've seen in some of our referrals, so I thank you so much. And for your continued support and belief in doing good, making a difference in our community. And we, as many of you as you, have that vision to support and ignite the potential that newcomers really do bring to our region and to Canada. So if you want more information, we are at our YMCA tables or the Immigration Partnership table, and we really thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you, Gitanjali and Marsha. Really good to hear about all of the different programs at the Y that are serving different groups that need different types of supports in our region. I'm now going to invite to come up to the stage Olusola, Oladele, and Jennie di Girolamo. Olusola is the employer liaison lead at the Workplace and Immigrant Network of Waterloo Region. This is one of the newer programs for immigrants on their employment journey in our region. Olusola has over 15 years of HR experience in Nigeria and Canada, and she leverages her expertise and lived experience as an immigrant to support employers in attracting, hiring, and retaining global talent in our region. Jennie is the talent liaison lead with WIN. She has 7 years of employment expertise and a background in disability studies. Jennie excels in promoting global talent's unique skills to our local labor market and driving community growth through strategic partnerships. Jennie and Olu, welcome up to the stage.
Hello, everyone. So we're going to start off with who are we? Because we are a brand new program. The Workplace and Immigrant Network, WIN, is a product of the Workforce Planning Board of Waterloo, Wellington, Dufferin, and it focuses on establishing a centralized network that brings together immigrant job seekers and local employers into the Waterloo region. At WIN, our primary goal is to improve immigrant employer connections in the region. This project was dreamed up between several organizations, including the Chamber of Commerce and the Immigration Partnership over the past several years, a lot of years, to address the lack of supports for both employers looking to integrate immigrant talent in their organizations and support highly skilled professionals who lack supports navigating certifications and reestablishing their careers here in Canada. So in order to do so, we have to know exactly what newcomers are looking for and what they need. So the gaps that we see and some things that support newcomers in the region are things such as credential assessment through WES or ICAS, acknowledging the lack of knowledge of the labor market, specifically in industry, opportunities for training that are short-term and not a PhD. Barriers to engagement with licensing bodies and regulatory colleges, those things are really difficult to navigate. If anybody has ever tried to go through the nursing bridging program, it might as well be written in an ancient language. It's just difficult to get through. Lack of opportunities to showcase skills. So the opportunity is a big piece, and the lack of professional networks. As well as, our people are highly skilled, meaning that a lot of those one-to-one supports aren't available as they might be to someone who might have a disability or might be lower CLB level or are just coming into the country. So the personalized one-to-one supports does really help. So that's what we do. We offer the one-to-one support. We offer individualized local labor market reports. That's a big piece based on their career goals. So giving the actual numbers of if you're a chemical engineer, is there a need for a chemical engineer in the region? Offering individualized support action plans, determining exactly step-by-step what you need to do to get to that long-term goal. Support with navigating those licensing and regulatory bodies, as well as workshops and networking events. Examples of those events are things such as very specific unlocking opportunities in advanced manufacturing to something a little more general, like mastering professional level interviews. Eligibility is the same as everybody else's. We are IRCC funded, so there is that gap, but we are always open to doing discovery meetings with people. And then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Olusola to talk about the employer side, which makes our program so unique.
Hi everyone, my name is Olusola Oladele, and I'm the employer liaison lead for the Workplace and Immigrant Network Initiative. So what makes the initiative unique apart from other community organizations is that we also offer support for small and medium-sized enterprises in Waterloo region. We understand that there are lots of resources for immigrants, and despite all the efforts of community partners to equip and empower them to find jobs and thrive in the community. There still seems to be like a mismatch where they're still underemployed or unemployed. So that's where WIN comes in to support employers. And our employers too have gaps as well. And we observe that employers want to hire, but they also have challenges. And we know that, and here are some of the challenges we've highlighted here on the screen, which is not, it's not an exhaustive list. This includes budget constraints and limited resources. Small, medium businesses in the region do not have this kind of financial resources and supports that larger organizations do have. So they do not have those resources to invest on onboarding, integrating newcomers into the organizations successfully. Also, lack of HR capacity. Many SMEs have non-existent or small HR departments, so they do not have time dedicated to revamping some of their HR processes to review it from end to end to ensure that they are not exclusive of anyone. Also, we have limited awareness of free community resources. There are lots of there are resources in the community for employers, but they do not know where to go. So we offer that simple one-stop shop where we're able to refer them to resources that they might need. Lack of information about foreign credentials and experience is also a big thing because small, medium businesses are trying to face their core competence of their business, and they do not know about organizations like WES and ICAS that offers credential assessments, so they know how commensurate or equivalent they are to Canadian equivalencies. So those are one of the challenges we've observed that small, medium businesses have that might not make them hire or engage with newcomer organizations. Also, with legal and compliance concerns, with the temporary foreign work permits, employers do not know how to engage, and they're concerned about legal compliance here if they hire someone who is not eligible to work in the country. So there are legal and compliance concerns, and they would rather hire someone they consider a culture fit rather than a culture add. So how is WIN supporting employers? So we offer one-to-one support by offering expanded talent pool access. So if they reach out to us, if we do not have those kind of clients in our talent pool, we refer them to community organizations and offer them free resources that helps them to integrate newcomers into the organization successfully. Also, we provide in-house training to organizations on intercultural competencies, so they do not have to pay any money to be able to offer those kind of trainings to their hiring managers and staff. Through our workshops are designed to, help employers to tackle all these challenges by we bring in expert facilitators who share data-driven insights as well as provide actionable strategies that the attendees can walk away and implement post-workshops. Cost-effective, insights as well, cost-effective tools are shared as well. And through our monthly newsletters, we continue to support employers in the region by sharing best practices, resources, and also spotlighting an employer in the region who is doing a good job, sharing their own insights and how they've been able to navigate this. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw out some things as to we've been around for about 18 months, one-to-one. So this is some of the community impact that we have had. So we've engaged in talent partnerships and referrals with the organizations here. And if you want an exhaustive list, then we've got it available to the slides. But places such as we've got the proponents, as well as some of the other local service providers, such as YWCA, Horizon, NIRO, African Women Alliance. And then again, with the employer side, the engagement in those partnerships and referrals, such as the Chamber of Commerce, Cambridge and Kitchener, some BIAs, et cetera. So there's more there if you'd like to see it. We're also providing these numbers just to highlight what we've done in the last 18 months with clients and employers. So feel free if you want to peruse those, but it's been a really busy 18 months. So 117 employers engaged in the region and 56 PR supported, out of which 28 are employed. Those are our best numbers, I think. And some testimonials. We'll move on. So moving forward, we have just been approved for a 3-year funding through IRCC. So we're still here. So please, if you want to connect with us, please do. We are potentially expanding to other regions, and we are going to continue to revise those resources for employers to figure out really where the gaps are and what they need. We continue to expand our outreach efforts to get employers ready for the current and future workforce because everything is changing all the time. Thank you. If you want to know more, email us here.
Thank you, Olusola and Jennie. I know it's really hard to try to compress the breadth of the work that every one of the speakers here this morning has been doing into a 10-minute block, but it's really nice to get an overview of the work that you're doing. And we know it's not always easy to be the new kid on the block, and I think you've done an amazing job of building relationships and partnerships, and that's awesome. I would next like to invite up Natalia Tashbolotova, who is here with us today from Reception House. She is an enthusiastic employment navigator with a background in career coaching, where she has successfully supported clients through various career transitions. From Reception House, this is a program that is focused on supporting refugees in our community. Natalia has experience working with NGOs, and she has dedicated her career to helping individuals fulfill their potential and grow in multiple aspects of their lives. Natalia, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here today to share insights on an important work, the role of employment supports in helping refugees build new lives in Canada. At Reception House, we've seen firsthand how meaningful employment can transform the lives of refugees and their families. However, we also understand that the road to employment is not an easy one. Today, I'll walk you through the barriers refugees face, the gaps in employment services, and the solutions we are implementing to help our clients to succeed. Employment plays a crucial role in the integration process. For refugees, securing a job builds independence, boosts confidence, and provides financial stability. It allows them to participate in and contribute to their new communities, strengthening a sense of purpose and inclusion. But the importance of employment goes beyond economics. It helps refugees feel like they belong, offering a chance to rebuild what was lost and look forward toward a brighter future. A stable job isn't about just surviving, it's about thriving. And yet, many refugees face systemic barriers that make finding employment more challenging than it needs to be. Let's begin by looking at the first year of your refugee's journey in Canada. During the first 2 to 3 months, most families are focused on initial settlement and orientation. Also, it takes up to 2 to 3 months and maybe longer, as we heard today, to complete language assessments. And for refugees who are at pre-literate or literacy levels, it can take additional 6 to 12 months upon completion of language assessment, finally to start language training. Employment counseling services through Employment Ontario at another barrier, with wait times of about 3 to 4 months before an initial intake. By the end of the first year, we see how many refugees are in survival mode. The resettlement assistance program support has ended. Financial pressures have increased, and refugees are still working on basic language skills while facing urgent need to earn money for rent. This timeline illustrates a crucial challenge. Refugees are expected to meet the financial and employment demands while still navigating foundational language learning and systemic barriers. Refugees face multiple barriers that delay or limit their ability to find meaningful employment. unrecognized credentials. Many refugees bring valuable skills and professional experience, but their qualifications are often not recognized in Canada. This forces them to take survival jobs or pursue costly recertification process that can only be done after a certain level of language proficiency is achieved. Many jobs require conversational fluency in English, which is particularly challenging for pre-literacy or literacy level learners who are just beginning to develop basic communication skills. Also, we noticed that refugees often lack digital skills, internet access, or affordable childcare, all of which are essential for job searches and workforce participation. And systemic barriers such as school transportation issues, long wait times for critical services, and complex job markets create an overwhelming experience. Despite existing programs, there are clear gaps in how employment services address refugees' unique needs. Language support and employment services delays, limited options for pre-literacy learners, digital skills gaps, all of these slow down the integration process and limit access even to survival employment opportunities. At Reception House, we've recognized these challenges and gaps and have taken steps to address them through our current services and an innovative pilot program. Here's how we are making a difference. We created employment-focused English classes using AI-driven platform. These classes are tailored to workplace scenarios, teaching skills like preparing for interviews, communicating at work, and understanding workplace safety instructions. We integrated digital literacy training where participants learn how to use email, complete online job applications, and navigate essential digital tools. So this prepares them for today's technology-driven job market. And as a wraparound support, we provide transportation subsidies, interpretation support, and technology access to remove participation barriers. Combining English and digital skills is key for success in today's job market. We focus on beginners, especially those at pre-literacy levels, and we ensure that no one is left behind. The training is practical, teaching workplace vocabulary and digital tools for real tasks like applying for jobs and communicating online. This approach builds confidence and prepares participants for meaningful employment. The early results from the pilot program are promising. In just the first month, we've observed high attendance rates and strong motivation among participants. We noticed that daily practice of digital and language skills leads to greater confidence and familiarity with completing tasks. And we also noticed improved communication as our participants engage more actively in daily conversations. These outcomes show that targeted inclusive support can significantly accelerate refugees' path to meaningful employment. Our current employment services include intake and needs assessment to identify barriers and opportunities. We collaborate with KW Multicultural Center to provide women's health and safety workshop in languages other than English. And we also facilitate employment orientation in different languages. We provide job search training and job board services for low literacy level refugee job seekers. We're planning to host these activities to support the needs of refugees, especially those with low literacy level. This Thursday, we start to run interview preparation workshop. We are in the process of developing AI job search workshop, and we're preparing network event for our clients. And this is just an infographic of how we address gaps and barriers that refugees are facing as they try to join the workforce. While we are proud of these achievements, we know that there is still a lot of work to be done. Our next steps include scaling up the pilot program based on its success, continually refining our services to address evolving needs and building stronger partnerships with local businesses to create more opportunities for refugees. In closing, I want to emphasize that employment is not just a necessity, it's a pathway to independence, dignity, and belonging. Refugees bring resilience, diverse skills, and untapped potential to our communities. By addressing systemic barriers and providing tailored support, we are not just helping individuals rebuild their lives, but also strengthening our society as a whole. Thank you for your attention and for supporting this important work. Together, we can make a lasting impact.
Thank you, Natalia. It was really nice to hear about some of the work that is happening through Reception House to support government-assisted refugees on their employment journey here in Waterloo region. And I would now like to welcome our last presenter for this afternoon's segment, Lily Magnus. Lily is the coordinator for the Newcomer Employment Outreach Program at Kinbridge Community Association in Cambridge, and she has been working with immigrants and newcomers in different capacities since 2009. With a strong foundation in English as a second language teaching and workshop development, Lily emphasizes cross-cultural awareness, education, and confidence building in her work, helping to establish a sense of belonging. She is dedicated to promoting community partnerships, advocating for equitable access to resources, and ensuring newcomers have the information and tools they need to make empowered decisions. Thank you, Lily.
Thanks, Tera. Thanks, proponents. Okay, so I'm the last presenter. I hope everyone is still awake. Thanks for coming, everyone. So, yes, I am Lily. I work with Kinbridge Community Association. So I think in the space of who's here, that's a little unusual. So Kinbridge, we're a neighborhood association in Cambridge. It offers a wide range of services, recreation, youth programs, community supports, and more settlement and belonging focused newcomer programs. So I am the coordinator specifically for the Newcomer Employment Program, which has been around for about a year and a half, a little more. So this program was initially funded by the Immigration Partnership as a pilot project and now has established itself as one of Kinbridge's key programs. So just like everyone else here, our goal is to reduce barriers to newcomer employment. So we approach that from multiple angles by working with newcomers and employers and intentionally prioritizing community partnerships and collaborations so that we can more effectively meet the need. Funding and eligibility is a little complicated to explain as our funding has changed. We've been lucky enough to be able to offer supports to any non-citizens regardless of status up to this point. We will have IRCC funding starting next year, which means we will have some of those similar restrictions, but we do have some multiple funding sources, and so we do plan to continue offering employment support to people who don't meet that criteria. Since we're based in Cambridge, we prioritize Cambridge residents, but I do offer virtual support to Kitchener and Waterloo residents. And if you're trying to figure out different eligibility and referring someone, just chat with me. Okay, so I'm just going to give you an overview of the different supports that we offer and the different programs, some of the events that we've run this year. So starting on the newcomer side, we offer both individual and group supports in all the areas you can see listed there. I partner with the library and some other neighborhood associations to offer drop-in employment support at different locations in Cambridge to try to increase accessibility a bit. I don't know if any of you have been to Kinbridge, but it's like way down in Galt. It's a bit hard to get to. So participants can access individual support or group support or both as many times or as few times as they want, depending on their needs. So there's some people that I just meet with once, basically as a consultation, and other people that I meet with many times, review their job applications, review multiple iterations of their resume and cover letter, and talk about different supports they need. I have a very diverse group of participants, and many of them are not eligible for any other supports. One of the key services that I do is an employment readiness workshop series, and I have some flyers for my next session over there. So this series addresses many of the key gaps that all of you have probably noticed that cause challenges for newcomers in getting and keeping meaningful work, particularly around some of those areas of Canadian communication style, Canadian workplace culture, where you can have some significant miscommunications. I also regularly bring in guest speakers from other agencies to increase awareness of those services and access to resources and to just build connections. So this year, some of the guest speakers have included Dave from WR Connectors, KW Habilitation, CCRC, the CRA, Community Legal Services, ICAS, and the Power of Trades. And I hope to continue having those partnerships and guest speakers in the future. So these workshops are constantly updated in response to needs that I observe and feedback from employers and job seekers and community partners on what are the gaps, what are the needs. They really focus on building that confidence in navigating a new context so that people can make informed decisions and try to navigate some of those potential miscommunications. And yes, I do also run some other workshops intermittently in addition to these ones, including one on resources for learning English. So I will be taking everything from the first half of today and seeing if there's anything I missed to add it in. Another resource I offer is the Soft Skills Solutions course. So this is not specifically designed for newcomers to Canada, but it is very valuable for anyone who's new to the workforce or new to the Canadian workforce. So this is created by the Workforce Planning Board of Simcoe Muskoka. It's an external training. It has 5 units, covers a lot of the really essential aspects for soft skills in any workplace. It's super interactive. It's a small group. It's really emphasizing small group conversations and also a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness on your skills, your strengths and weaknesses, your interests. And the group really does connect a lot by the end of it. They get a booklet with all the materials. And yeah, it's a great resource. So I ran 3 sessions of this in 2024, including one specifically for Cambridge's youth employment social enterprise called Youth Force. So then on the employer side, I do also provide some consultations, some networking and training opportunities, share resources and referrals, often referring people back to, say, WIN for HR consultations or things like that. This picture is from the Employer Recognition Breakfast, which is run by the Cambridge Employment Facilitators Network. And I nominated this employer, Just Working Construction, for an excellent partnership with our program. One of the programs I offer for employers is a roundtable discussion. And this year, Dave and Jay from WR Connectors started partnering with me on this. And we moved to a virtual format with 3 discussions. We noticed that employers often have a lot of workshops, a lot of training opportunities, and sometimes they need space to process that learning or to ask questions or to figure out how to apply that learning. So this is really an employer space. It's for employers to talk to each other and to figure out how do they apply this learning to their situation. So it's kind of troubleshooting and exploring situations. And as facilitators, we share resources, we share examples and case studies from things that we've observed. We also have the Navigating Global Englishes training, as Shola mentioned in her slides. So we've run this twice so far in partnership with WIN. And this was really in response to a gap that we noticed where there's a lot of training around cross-cultural competency, but not as much around language differences. So this was developed along with a former colleague, Lydia. And as former ESL teachers, we're very passionate about the area of language. And it's really focused on, for standard native English speakers, how do they need to adjust their English to communicate more effectively with people who speak different languages or different types of English? Last thing is job fairs. So I run 2 job fairs annually. One is focused on youth and students, and the other is primarily professional, and that one's usually partnered with WIN. We designed this entire job fair and the structure of it and every aspect of it in response to challenges that we typically see with a lot of job fairs and some frustrations. So it's really emphasizing a lot of prep and coaching and resources to help people make the most of the event. The picture there is a prep workshop that we ran together a week before our most recent job fair. We had almost 40 participants come. They had a workshop, and then they had an opportunity for one-on-one coaching and review to prepare a strategy for the job fair. And there's the job fair itself, where participants who had missed that prep workshop had the opportunity for a speed consultation with Jennie and Shola. The youth and student job fair runs similarly with just partnership within Cambridge youth programs. We're both very small programs. By collaborating on these job fairs, we're able to provide a lot more resources, a lot more coaching and information, and run a really smooth event. So I know I'm out of time, but looking ahead for next year, our goals: create more opportunities for employer engagement, volunteering, sharing information, build our capacity to provide support for those who need it most, particularly in areas like addressing the digital divide, and just continue our focus on developing community partnerships. Like a lot of you, we're figuring out the funding, we're figuring out what's going on with IRCC, and there's a lot of unknowns, but we are committed to making it continue going. Thank you.
Thanks, Lily. It was really great to hear about all of the amazing things that you're doing down at Cambridge for newcomers in Cambridge and beyond. There are many Employment Ontario programs also that operate in the region. We've chosen to focus today on the programs and supports in our community that are specifically targeted to supporting immigrants in our region. These are the folks that are really digging into the specific challenges that any of your clients will be having and helping them to find success. And I'd also just make another plug. I see questions have been going into the Slido. I hope you've put in all the ones you have. You can continue to put them in, and as we have time, we'll go through them and like up the ones that are really burning for you. And we will be sharing all of the presentations from this morning and this afternoon with all of you, as well as responses to any questions that we have not been able to get through during our time together today. So, thanks everyone for all your sharing. Oh, you're nice and tight up here. We're cuddling up this afternoon because we have so many great partners and programs to hear and share about. Does it give you a little bit more space if I come over? You're good. Okay, awesome. It's a tight-knit group. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into questions, and we have about 25 minutes to go through. Oh my gosh, and I just closed down my thing. Some of the questions that everybody's been putting into the chat. So the first one is, one gap seems to be supports for people on a work permit. What programs are available to work permit holders? Can any of you, and some of you talked about that a little bit. Does anybody want to take a first go at that one?
Yeah, so my program up to this point has been fully open regardless of immigration status. Like I mentioned, I will have some restrictions moving forward, but we do have multiple funding sources. We're committed to continuing to provide support regardless of immigration status, even if it means that it's might be only virtual support rather than in person. It might be limited in some ways. Still kind of figuring out what that's going to look like come April with new funding, but it is still available.
WIN is also, we've taken on a CDP students at least twice a year. It tends to pull up about 8 months worth of supports, and we open those up to more peer-to-peer supports for our CDP students, the career development practitioners, to get that real life experience so they can support other people who aren't necessarily approved for our program, but we can still support them in resume building, those service navigating, where to go, and research on courses that they can take, or navigating those like just career development overall. So
It is a massive gap and a need. I believe there are also a few other options like through CCRW or things like that where people might be able to access employment support in a slightly more roundabout way.
Did we say what CCRW stands for?
Canadian Council on Rehabilitation and Work. So they support people who self-identify as having a disability of some sort. These disabilities, as we know, are not necessarily things that happen. It's not necessarily your standard wheelchair or vision impairment. We're looking at things such as PTSD, episodic disabilities such as cancers, or things as simple as hypertension can definitely assist in that access.
Great, thank you. Our next question is for Natalia. Can you share more about how AI is used in the services created at Reception House? Any specific examples?
Yeah, we're using a language learning platform. Our participants are learning English online, but they come to our office so that they could practice digital skills and receive support from us. And the first step is to identify their personal goals. And if the goal is to get a job, then they choose what kind of skills they want to develop, say, communication skills at work, understanding safety instructions. Then they also have a chance to choose field where they would like to work, and then the program will choose from the pool courses that would be suitable for that specific industry or work that was selected. That's an example how this platform helps to use AI and select specific courses for each individual according to his interests and needs.
Thank you. Our next question is probably one we should have addressed right at the beginning. Can we explain, please, what convention refugee status means? Natalia, maybe that's a good one for you again.
I'm sorry. We work mostly with government-assisted refugees, so I think maybe someone else could.
It encompasses a number of different scenarios, such as government-assisted refugees, privately sponsored refugees, and also refugee claimants who have made a claim and have had that claim decided in their favor.
So people who have had the determination on their decision and deemed to be accepted as a refugee, as opposed to people who are in the process of going through the claims process here in Canada. Our next question is about power of trades. Is there a guarantee of a job after completing the training?
Yeah, we can say technically yes, but it's a 50-50 partnership. So if we are teaching you or we are guiding you something, you have to follow the path. Otherwise, you will not reach your goal. So it's kind of 50-50 partnership. We are trying our best to provide all the resources, everything what we have in our program. But if someone is ready to pick up or follow the steps with us, definitely they do have the job in their hands after the program.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Jennie, this next one is for you. With WIN, do you serve youth in finding jobs?
So for us, it's very similar to everybody else who is funded through IRCC, so it's 18 years of age or up. My background specifically is with youth with disabilities. That tends to be my background. So I do have experience in that. However, I am happy to support people in accessing or searching for where to find that support for youth under 15. Otherwise, you're looking at YES programs and things like that, but things have changed quite drastically. WIN specifically, though, tends to work with those highly skilled, highly trained professionals who are looking for that long-term goal of something more aligned to what they were looking for prior to coming to Canada. However, if there is a goal of something professional, then we can always have a conversation.
Wonderful, thank you. And our next question is over to Dave. Is the Connectors program available in Cambridge, or would Cambridge residents have to come up to Kitchener?
As the name suggests, WR Connectors means Waterloo Region Connectors, so it is a region-wide mandate that we have. Now, our in-person services that we deliver at the center are at our office in Kitchener, but we also have a lot of online meetings, and we have connectors. Our volunteers are from throughout the region as well. So yes, it is available to anyone within the region. We've also have served some people in Guelph. We have kind of an unofficial sort of extension of our mandate to cover Guelph as well, but that's a much smaller component.
Thanks, Dave. Marsha, I think the next one is for you. What is the immigrant status requirement for the IWF program?
So I'm going to get the professional.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Nanya to answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I wanted to touch on this when the question about work permit was asked. So for the IWF program, Investing in Women's Futures program, there is no immigration status requirements. So that means work permit, study permit holders, citizens, visitors, all are welcome. So this is one of the few programs like your program that can pretty much support anyone when it comes to employment-related supports, as well as computer literacy. The only requirement is that you identify as a woman or non-binary person and have a CLB of 4 or above. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our next question is for, well, maybe the Multicultural Center and our YMCA colleagues. Are the WR Connector program and the mentorship program the same? Maybe can you talk about the nuances and distinctions between them?
No, they're not the same. I would say that the focus of WR Connectors is specifically on network building, and that is its purview. And mentorship, I'll let you speak about.
Thank you. So with mentorship, it is an ongoing relationship and partnership, I guess you can say, between the mentor and the mentee for that 3 months. So the mentor provides support, guidance, insights into the field. So there is that networking piece, but it's also a relationship building and learning about the industry in Canada.
Amazing. So benefits to clients to potentially being connected to both programs.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we often refer to each other's programs. It's valuable to avail oneself of all the resources available.
Thank you. The next question is around community resources that we have available to provide clients with computers needed for increased digital literacy and access to online classes and workshops. Any insights into that one from any of you?
Well, I was just going to mention through our IWF program, we do have the computer literacy, and we do have an actual computer lab. One of our other colleagues, her name is Denitsa. She runs different computer programs, and she has several computers that are used on our first floor of our YMCA at 800 King.
I often refer people just to the library to use the computers there. One great resource in Cambridge is the literacy group, which has some basic computer classes. They have a lab that people can use, and we are in the process of trying to figure out some resources where maybe Kinbridge can partner with some different folks to meet some of that need, especially when it comes to where you need the ESL and computer together. So I don't know if you want to chime in on that, Natalia, at all? Yeah. I'm not sure if the question was specifically around like getting a computer, like to have and to keep, or just using a computer in a public space.
I'm going to read it as both.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. That's it? Okay.
I can just jump in.
Okay,
Again, CCRW is a great resource for those types of things as well. So if they can't provide you with one, they might be able to support in accessing where to find that.
The Working Center has a computer recycling operation where they provide Linux-powered machines at a fairly reasonable cost to people. And so that may be one other, and I think someone there might have.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay. The next question is for the Multicultural Center again. Do you serve youth in the group age of 14 plus, and do you have job connection programs for them?
We don't have any employment-related programs for youth. We do have a youth program called Let's Talk, which focuses primarily on educational pathways and what happens after high school generally. So there's a lot of focus on what people can do, whether they're going to college or university or trades or directly into the job market. There's also a large focus on, they use largely an arts-based focused approach to creating and learning and sharing. And that happens about 3 or 4 times a year. It's an 8-week program, and it runs at various libraries throughout the region. And it usually alternates between Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge.
Okay, thank you. The next question is about French language employment services for our Francophone population. Do we have any specifically in the region, or like are there any supports for French speakers to be coming into the programs that you guys are offering?
Yes, so actually it's not a program that with immigrant services, but through our employment services at YMCA, we do have an employment coach who does, or a few employment coaches that do speak French and do help individuals who are Francophone.
I would like to say that this is a great need in this region. At Collège Boreal, we have settlement services for newcomers, especially Francophone newcomers. But when they leave, they come in this region, they really don't have the services as they wish to. So this is a need. Sometimes I refer them to YMCA, but I also refer them to Collège Boreal, but we have employment services in French, but they are in London. So there is really a need to have French employment services in this region.
Thank you. Thank you for that. The next question is around collaboration and I guess cross referrals. Do you all refer clients across all of your programs? i.e., once a client is referred into one of your programs, do they then get networked into all of the others?
Often, yes. We don't have like a formal system set up for that or anything. Like we don't have a shared database or anything like that. We all have to report separately and things like that. But we do, when we're doing an intake and we're checking the eligibility, for example, if I see someone who meets the language and status requirements, I'm immediately going to refer them over there. And if I see someone who's looking for a more professional career pathway, I'm immediately going to send them to Jennie. So I think just kind of on more of an informal basis, yes.
So that's good to know. If you're referring clients and they get into the door of one of these programs, all of these guys are going to be looking to see where else it makes sense for them to be connected. So that's I think, helpful. The next question is for Wynn. Is there a CBL minimum level requirement?
I do not have a CBL minimum level requirement. CLB. It's a CBL, so I'm just reading it off the thing.
Language benchmark.
Here's the thing. Basically, it comes down to, for me, if you're able to have a conversation with me, then we can have a conversation. I'll do my best to support. I think overall our program is really good at trying to figure out ways to meet the need. Generally, people are coming to me if they are ready for that next step. So generally, they have a higher level of education. However, it might just be like, hey, this is where you're at. This is your long-term goal. I'm going to send you to Kinbridge, or I'm going to send you to the Power of Trades if it's a 4 and above, and we can have a conversation. But no, there is no formal benchmark.
Great, thank you. Similar kind of next question, but for everyone, I guess. If a job seeker has CLB level between 1 and 3, What is their best route to starting their job search journey?
At the Multicultural Center, if they meet those eligibility criteria, that is, we do have our First Job in Canada program, which is available for levels up to CLB4. And that programming is generally delivered in another language or in English with interpretation into that language, as long as there are enough people to constitute a group, and that's usually around, I think, 4 or 5 people, Fatah, for a minimum. 3. So if we have 3 speakers of a language at the same time, we can, and an interpreter available, we can run a session in that language.
This is a very common situation for our clients. The first thing I would encourage our client with CLB level 1 to 3 to do is to continue to work on his English, because it's easier to push up to CLB 4, where you will be eligible already for some of the pre-employment programs, and you will be able to have basic communication skills and communicate with employer and understand safety, which is what is the main concern, I think, for employers. And the other thing to do is networking, of course, because if they will be able to find someone who works, say, at a company, we have a situation with Linamar, where lots of Eritreans were hired just because someone was a supervisor who spoke their language, who could kind of cover with safety things and instructions. So maybe look for companies that hire in different languages. And I also heard that Loblaw, they had different language groups, and they were willing to hire with kind of very basic level of communication.
Maybe it's like it's depend on the individual, but they can start entry level job, survival job with the restaurant in their own community restaurants. So like if someone come from Afghanistan, so they know their languages, they can serve in Spain, Chinese, Indians, Pakistani, all. We do have restaurants, so they can join restaurants industry for the time being.
A lot of people end up, as you would all know, end up stuck in a survival level job, which they need for the income, and then they have no time to study English, so they can't get out of the job, and it's this terrible trap. So then we're recommending what are those resources for informal language learning, what are those resources for self-study and the conversation classes. So even if they can't be in a link class or an ESL class because they need to work, at least we can try to offer some resources for them to be improving their English while they are doing that.
I think I also encourage them to show that they can communicate even with Google Translator, because then it is another way to show that I am taking initiative, I'm working on this to be able to communicate with employers. And yes, some of the jobs, they do not require lots of communication. So when I create job boards, I look for those kind of jobs that do not require a lot of direct communication, though almost every job wants this is a skill that is like very necessary. So yeah, can keep working on improving English, but still kind of look for different ways to find survival jobs probably.
Thank you. Next question is, do we have anywhere a single comprehensive map for all of these services that are offered?
I know this
We
answer.
wish.
My colleague is sitting over here. The Workforce Planning Board of Waterloo, Wellington, Dufferin, Sonia's just raising her hand over here. There are a wealth, like it's insane. Most of the work that I do, I get from that website. So the things that I provide, I get from that website. You will find things like service navigation. For employers, there's tons of resources. If you go to findyourjob.ca, there are a ton of there's a ton of labor market information. We were just talking about like what's like skills, like communication is the top soft skill in Kitchener-Waterloo. I learned that from findyourjob.ca. So there's a ton of information there. So if it is a question, definitely check it out.
Sonia.
And Sonia. I don't think so. I think you're good. Yes, Sonia and Bennett and Charlene are the local labor market experts. If you have a question around labor, those are the people to talk to.
Okay. I have a specific question for Kinbridge. Can you tell us about Youth Force?
Youth Force is a youth employment social enterprise program. It's been around for a few years now, so it's got a variety of funding. Some of it is through the Canada Summer Jobs Grant, so then it has to be youth under 30, and there's some immigration requirements. It's a highly supportive summer job that is designed for people who face different barriers to employment. So it's quite broad in terms of what barrier to employment means. People living within certain postal codes are generally prioritized. Then it could be disability, it could be language, it could be any number of things. Typically, the jobs are landscaping and cleaning, and so Youth Force gets contracts from individuals or from the city to do things like landscaping, cleaning, event support. I actually hire Youth Force to help run my job fairs, and they help with setup, tear down, people management, things like that. So Amy Sider is the manager for Youth Force, and if anyone is curious in learning more about that, I will connect you with her.
Thank you. And I'm going to take one last question. Most of the jobs listed on job sites hardly respond other than to acknowledge that your application has been received, except for when you have a referral. How do you help people get past this? What advice do you have?
Networking.
Shola, I feel like that's a question for you.
So at Wayne, we're connected to some employers in the region who reach out with job postings. So I share those with other community partners and ask them to share those resumes with me and hand it over to the hire manager. And we've had success rates with like 5 people hired through that. That's another way.
Anything else? No? Okay.
I wish I had a solution for that.
Yeah, it's tough. Okay, well, thank you, everyone, for your time and sharing your insights with us this afternoon. It's been really interesting to listen to all of the work that you guys are doing and all of the programs that you are supporting in the region and the ways that you're working together. I think that is really important. The doing it together piece is what gets us further. So I'm going to move us slowly into closing remarks, but before I do that, and if you guys want to leave the stage, you can, or you're welcome to stay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
I'm going to continue on then with the closing remarks. And the first thing that I would like to say is thank you so much to each and every person who is in this room today for being here with us today and for all of the work that you do supporting immigrants in Waterloo region. I'd like to thank, although they are not here with us anymore, our regional chair, Karen Redman, who spent time with us this morning, and our elder, Myeengun Henry, who joined us to set us up in a good way to come into our time together today, and also bring in greetings from Regional Council and the rest of our community to let you know how important the work that you are all doing is for our region and how appreciated it is. I'd like to thank all of our partners in our Settle steering group, in our work steering group, who have helped with the vision and the planning for this and all of the other sessions in this series that have happened, and to all of our participants today and speakers for sharing all of their insights today and across all of the other events that we have had. This learning together would not be possible without everybody who has given their time to making this happen. I would really like to give a special shout out to our team at the Immigration Partnership, who have worked really hard over this year to bring this series together and to plan an extra special event for all of us just before the holidays. So to Pauline and Deanna and Dan, Abiha, and especially to Nora and Saba, and to our students, Kokui and Despele. this day would not have happened without all of you and your passion and your commitment and the ways that you work together with each other and everybody else in the room. It's really amazing. We should also thank our funders, IRCC, and also the region of Waterloo and the United Way, who make the work that we do together through the Immigration Partnership possible, and also to the leaders of your organizations, our settlement partners, who decided together that it was a priority to create time for all of you to have this space for learning together and creating connections across the organizations. So we have really great leaders in this region, and so I just want to take a moment to appreciate them. Today has been amazing. I have learned a lot here, and I'm sure that everybody else has. And with that knowledge, we are all ready to go back into our organizations, and after, hopefully, everybody takes a little bit of a break over the holidays, comes back refreshed, and with more of the information that you need to support the newcomers who are here in the region. Every one of you in this room is a community builder. You're all doing incredible work to help newcomers and others succeed in our region, and we are so happy to have been able to be here with all of you today to celebrate you and all of the work that you are doing. So enjoy the holidays, relax, recharge, and enjoy the time you have with your loved ones. And wishing everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa, or whatever other holiday that you are celebrating at this time of year. And we look forward to continuing to work together into the new year. So enjoy the rest of your day.